Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu. Chawani. Me binu kobe wako patiye. Ibuka metiye. Atama binu kwa yenjo ducha ma lok metik ke the podium man. Kache bin kan. Metik ke the podium man me kwanyo wa. Good morning, everybody. As the author of this book, I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you. I'm extremely happy to see you, to spare your valuable time to come, to witness and to be part of this function. I can assure you that as I do age, as old age catches up with me, this is one of my very happy moments to see that I have written a book and it is being launched. I'm extremely happy. Writing a book is not easy because it involves many things. First of all, the author himself must have a dream. You must have an intention. What is it? What do you want to convey? What is the message you want to convey? How are you going to convey it? Once you do that stage, you do the planning. And then the context and other things. You go to the difficult stage of actually doing the writing, the correction, involving others, doing research, and many people. I want to thank at this stage Bosco Opio for the great assistance you rendered in helping me to do this research and write this book. Thank you very much. Let's clap for him. Where is Bosco? Bosco, where are you? He's there. I also want to thank my legal assistant, Oscar Zeko Okelo. He's a young lawyer, son of Dr. Alex Okot. He also helped me a lot in achieving what I did. There are many others, including members of my family. There are others who went and interviewed. They have their story, what we call the victim's story. Those are all captured in the book. But I want to use this occasion to urge the people of Lango in particular to develop the culture of writing books and reading. You know, if you don't capture something in the book, it will disappear. You just imagine that this book called Lango by Drybert Awaimbola was never written. You just imagine that Father Angelo Tarantino, later Bishop, never wrote a book called Lango Cattle. Just imagine that. But there are still many gaps in our life, in the life of Lango, which is not captured in books. These include, for example, the history of the British colonizing Lango. The way the British came and colonized. How was Lango colonized by the British? It is captured in a few stories here and there, but it deserves a book of its own. And then you have the struggle for independence around 1950 onwards under Uganda National Congress. There are people in Lango here who are very active in the politics of Uganda. And then the coming of Obore around 1957, 58. How did Obore come to Uganda from Kenya, come back to Lango from Kenya? How did he contest the election? How did he win the election? You see? How did people campaign at that time? Who were the main contestants of elections in 1958? The first general election. I was 10 years old, 11 years, and I watched it. I watched the campaign here and there, at Ngeta in the town and so on. A peaceful campaign, no bribery, you know. Even the contestants were there, very, very friendly. Nobody captured it. I don't see it if it is written somewhere, but not easily accessible. The struggle for independence and the contribution of the people of Lango. People like Yokusofati Engur, people like Jephunia Okai, people like Benedict Olwit, and so on. I don't see this captured. And what happened 71 when Amin overthrew the government? How was that government overthrown in 1971 by Idi Amin? The tragedy which befell the people of Lango under Idi Amin, I don't know. Is there a book written about it? The people who were killed and how it affected the people of Lango in their political, cultural, economic, and academic life. And then the struggle to overthrow Idi Amin, militarily led by Wito Jok and politically led by Milton Obote in Tanzania. What happened? Is there a book about it? When Obote and UPC came back to power, you know what happened. Museveni decided to go to the bush. DP decided to remain peaceful and went back to parliament and said, we're going to wait 5 years, is not far. We don't have to wreak havoc on the people of Uganda by going for war because you have lost election. You will lose the election and you declare war on a country and you go and wreck Luero. Then you come to northern Uganda, 20 years of havoc because you want to capture power with a gun. I don't see a book written by anybody from Lango, from the north, about that period. Daniel Omara was the Minister of Commerce, Cabinet Minister. Now he's a bit free. I hope he will use his time to write something, together with my friend Henry McMort and others. When Wito Jok died, what happened? The confusion in the army and so on. These are things which should be written. The 20-year war under NRA, under Museveni in the north, the destruction it caused. Where is the book about that? This Lango Cattle is just a small part of it. This Lango Cattle is just a small part of that tragedy of the greed for power where somebody wants to use the gun. It's just a part of it. Somebody should take time and write that book, and people should read it. Because in 50 years from now, he is going to disappear. Yesterday somebody posted something very interesting about Winyakulu. I've heard about Winyakulu when I was in primary school. We used to say, Omara Kelo, Winyakulu. But we didn't know that this was a great general. If you read the history of Winyakulu, then you know that Langi at that time were great fighters. But as somebody captured it somewhere in the book and taught by others, when we were in primary school, we used to learn a little bit about Lao. The Chayadiati Lao, Ruode Manati Lao, I can lim kwa Rebecca Ogole here, Erinayo Okulo. I can lim Mela. Man, want you kwana nyare and Tina welcoming and let me thank you for welcoming me. Akwara Erinayo Okulo. Wane ko kwani primary nga obera kan lim Mela Erinayo Okulo. Wode Ogole mat UBC UEB tuana water to Galwan Kede. Erigo be manager me UEB. Karame mat peta watata bakarani. Yokoni development here. Yokoni you can now develop mat. Ko progress pepe kargare. Binuko binino kan. What am I saying this? I'm saying this, please. I know it costs money to write. Like Enro Buka Morame Achoni, you don't know how much it is. You know, for the last 6 months, Karme campaign, I was very busy concentrating on this book. You need time. Then you need a bit of money. Piberalao, Kadung Jonateo Kwe, we don't when Yasido THL, political leaders do not take a we may need to launch some money to have to put up a publishing house. No. I make your book, Mirokongi. Because there's a lot to write in the history of Lango, which is not written. But you are Merong Choyo, Pehogiti Chiente, or let work. It's not easy, it is not cheap. And then Akobumano, Kako Mano, Adepo, you are Melquania, make your book, Adedan Koyo Gyoko. Eto Tichukena me Akobayani, Buki, a man Dok Alango, Lango Cattle, from wells to cars. Meritier, Natamokonya research will help you to go through the book and dissect it, and then we can talk about it. Book Yaracho BN, I wrote this book because cattle is central in the life of the people of Lango. At least the traditional Lango. You destroy cattle in their life, you destroy the life of the people of Lango. When the cattle of the people of Lango were stolen, they were reduced to abject poverty. And when you have poverty, what does it mean? It means you cannot eat well, you cannot sleep in a good house, you cannot drink clean water, you cannot have salt soap, you cannot dress well, you cannot send your children to school. This is what poverty is all about. Worst of all, under our culture, cows were used for marriage, and it was a bond in marriage. Not only of the wife, but between the in-laws. Diera, Papa Nyaho, Dora Nyaho. Atekara Nyaho, Atekara Wobi. Command me bertingere, Nyaho danko, Nyamaber, Nual Kere, Dima, Jode Dipuiki, Nyaho, Pepe Lola, the Dok Tungioko, Otinoran, Foundation de Petier, Bear. But Dok also, Unuo Konya Joke the Poo. And when we lost our cattle, all those were gone. So, take the issue of the rustling or the loss of cattle as a very serious matter in our life. I want to thank the claimants of Lango Cattle. You people, I want to thank you because you kept the struggle for compensation of Lango Cattle alive. Let's clap for them. Joamonuti Quat, Joamonuti Lodge, I mean, Dok Renewage, Miro Chol, that will go Dok Alango. Because without that, Lango will put a man no chanda better to wong, Dino Pea, Quan, Chimpetier, you would compare, Piana man, we were that Almiri, Tibet Christian, the Majami, Chima Better, Berupe, or Pedanga Better, Palingogi. But your grammatia be returning, and kind what it's and pay your ticket. Life of the people still depends on livestock. When Diegi get a dog. So this book captures that. That's why I call it From Wealth. You know, long, lim. That doctor is cast. You got on, if you get a dog, mirror your negi, or take a modoki. Eno kaya nang tikano, monte na no chan, joma pola te timere. Dok kamo no pero ki wakala laoni, te dok ko ki me peho, te dok peho. Aman, yekare me chulo Dok Alango tie, eno kaya winyo kita jo dok tie, dano miro corruption donye. There's another curse. There's another curse. Jo ameti lo chamiro jo nying jo, temi jo numudog no ringoge. But you have been chilling to me apart, to me a deed, not yet you work again, you may be. Those are curses. Marach. But you can look at me. Here, Yom Tutwal, I'm extremely delighted that Honorable Joel Milton Alirumara has accepted to launch this book. Joel, I thank you. Before I call upon you to launch this book, let me say a few words about Joel Alirumara and why I chose him. Because I have a lot in common with Joel Alirumara. A lot in common. When I was in third year in Makerere, that is in 1971, 72, and about to graduate under the difficult time of Idi Amin, that's when Joel Alirumara from Lango, tall, lean man, giant, joined us in Makerere in the law faculty in the first year. So he has been 2 years, he was 2 years behind me. I graduated, and later also when Joel Aliru graduated, he joined the judiciary, and he became a magistrate in Kabale, covering Kigezi. Then the murder of Janan Loum came, and most of us ran into exile. And Joel Alirumara also ran into exile via Rwanda into Tanzania. We met in Tanzania, and with the good luck, we were all employed in the same big institution called Cooperative College, Moshi, Tanzania. Something like a Cooperative College of Kigumba. But now it is a university. It is in one of the most beautiful cities at the slope of Kilimanjaro. That's where, again, we met with Joel Alirumara, and we were both teachers of law. Then the struggle, the last phase of overthrow of Idi Amin came when Idi Amin stupidly attacked Tanzania, and Tanzania declared war on Uganda, and with the Uganda liberators, Idi Amin was overthrown. We came back to Uganda. I was briefly in parliament. Alirumara contested under UPC for Lao Northeast at that time, which covered Utuke and part of Rute, Apala, Ogur, and Aromo. And he became a member of parliament for that area, and he was appointed a substantive minister of commerce in 1980. Obote's government was overthrown. Aliru went again to the second time in exile. I remain in Uganda. We try to help the people of Lango. And Museveni came to power, appointed me. I also became a minister under Museveni, first Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, and Minister of State for Defense. Then you know what happened to me. I was arrested, tortured, and removed. Then later, God willing again, Museveni called me back, and I was made a substantive Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. So we from Mutuke, Ali Omara, we have both become two full cabinet ministers. Then we are also cultural leaders. Witong, Ana bere Witong, Ali Omara bere Witong. We went pedi chunkal, pedi chunkal, Ana bere Witong, me otero rolang. He's a lawyer. He was also employed in the Human Rights Commission for many years. Of recent, Ali Omara is concentrating on two things, which I know of in public. He's the chairman of the City Land Board, but also he is an international, mark you, I'm using the word, he's an international consultant on human rights. Ali Omara travels a lot. I think there is, in a month or two, Ali Omara is out of Uganda. Consultancy of human rights and so on. He's a great Ugandan, quietly. In Kodoma Mekano, Langi, Mirujoame, Mirupangitam, Ginkojoamanu, Mirubedi Committee of Elders. I mean, your time. And to elders, Mekani, Perotina me, Pewinukop, at your dog. Dok Alango, Attack, Don Copper Momo dango biru punya lagi. Yen, lang kau ni adua timu ngah, adua tu neno power wine. Kare mortia me, people like Ali Omara Atubu ge, apotie ni. Di majo abinu de kau ni kau kerwa unu ping ode miu tam. Wan ge apotie, bar apona miu akar me peri wilo. Nene da jami. Jama waru neno dong duong apetuero. We grew up in the British time. Ikarame Dok Alango unupe okwalo. Cattle rustling unupe during British time. This is now my last remarks. What is the cause of this cattle rustling? Have you ever thought about it? I was born in 1947, the year Winyakulu died. I was born in 1947. Akwa Dok, mwakabiru, mwakaboro. Wow, Dok. Atu diegi. Kalau dokora no knock kami onu reku olog binu ke detang verkari ngok ilang itu bayogi yodang was not a big problem, but the root cause ubore tu when you kalau dokala mau nuti ubore tu upetie so penyer kini ngado ke lo kalau dokala. The answer is only one: lodge arach. I mean, you see, when you have bad governance and there is no peace, you have these people. You have Dok Joakwalo, Joagmachikema, Joato, Kwanpe, Chanduong. Things are settling down a bit. Panda do milioni kucha yemti launch on. But what is surprising me, people are not addressing the issue of what are the conditions which must be there for peace to prevail. Ali Omara can give you a lecture for 2 days. What is first? Define what is peace. Ali Omara were my company. I say, okay, lewa peace. One po lo moro ke lewa kuch. Lo moro kelli kucha kela. Kuch beo kelli, which is based on love between human beings. Nobody brings you peace. Please. So on the issue of peace, if you want Dok Alango mejo acholingoni kere kuch berutie, let us be serious. The second condition make kuch beru permanent. Ayeni, kay mitri locha betie. Ayeni woro twera dano, respect of human rights and freedoms. Lodge me otu betpe. Democracy betie. Ame yini wori bolo kuir bidana yini mito. Pe umonya ye bolo kuir. Pe umonya ye bolo kuir. Electoral Commission nang woro kuir ame bolo. Electoral Commission pe bolo kuir look to pe kwano kuir look to Ka Omara Atubu lanyo kuir komni Omara Atubu lanyo pe oliru mara. That is the foundation of peace. Ame Dok Alango choloni apiru berutie kute peragido. The conditions for permanent peace and security. So, my brother Joel Aliruma, I'm extremely happy to invite you to launch this book. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel Omara Atubu. I think the working language is likely going to be both Lao and English. But a lot, I will say, will be in English because the book is written in English. And the remarks that I'm going to make will be confined mainly my understanding of the message in this book. Some of them might have been said, but I think the style of saying it is going to be different. So Your Worship, Rebecca Alwedo Gole, standing in for Samatul, the mayor of Lira City, I've had the opportunity to see here elders, religious leaders, and political leaders. I was expecting to see people from the academia, and I think that is ably represented here by Alex Okot, who is leading a branch of the university, and Ngeta, Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu, cultural leaders, ladies and gentlemen. About 3 weeks ago, Daniel Omara Atubu said he wanted to discuss something with me, and I was very intrigued. So when we met, his message was, he has written a book called Lango Cattle, which he wants to launch, and he was inviting me as the guest speaker. So the first thing is I'm honored for the opportunity to launch this book, to be part of the launch of this book, and especially the opportunity to say a few words about the book. First and foremost, the events that Omara writes about occurred when he was very active in government, part of that government. So with that, I think he writes from a position of knowledge, a position of experience of what happened during that time. Now today we are launching the book, but in my view, it represents the opportunity to talk about and confront the history of Lango. It is a very important occasion because when you read the book, you will find out that it gives us a history of loss, a history of resilience, and a history of unfulfilled justice. I think this is the area that you heard Daniel Omara talking about, many issues about the consequences of what happened and what followed thereafter. So between 1986 and 1989, as you will see discussed extensively in the book, the Lao sub-region suffered devastating cattle raids that stripped families of their livelihoods and dignity. The emphasis here is this was not an ordinary loss because it was widespread, because it appeared deliberate, and because it was prolonged and very destructive to the Lao society. That's the cornerstone of the history that this book talks about. Thousands of households were pushed into poverty, and its debilitating impact is still prevalent all over Lango. Generations were disrupted, and a way of life was taken, if not destroyed. Now the book narrates what happened, but the debilitating destruction that happened is not captured into detail. So that's another area of interest to those who want to do research and come up with a new book to follow what Omara Atubu has written. Now for the young people, let me tell you more emphatically the feelings of Lao about cattle. It was the wisdom of our forefathers to make cattle accumulation an important part of the Lao culture. Wealth and pride and status. In Lango, and this is a message to the young people to know, a home without cattle is like a body without a soul. So when we are talking about loss, that is the magnitude of what was taken, the soul of our livelihood and the soul of our social existence was taken. Cattle was not just economic assets, they were the foundation of education, as you heard, marriage, food security, and social stability. When they were lost, everything else began to crumble. Yet, as the book captures, what was once a blessing became a curse, became a source of loss, a source of insecurity, and a source of suffering. So while we should acknowledge the insecurity and conflict of that time, we must also speak honestly. And speaking honestly, I emphasize, at that time, the people of Lao were left vulnerable and exposed. I think this has to come out. Protection was absent or insufficient. It was lacking in many instances. The book touches on this vulnerability and lack of protection, and the fact that recovery has been slow and justice for many remains incomplete. That's why you hear the Wangadong still running around doing that and that, because justice has still to be done as a consequence of what happened. The book I'm going to launch today does more than tell a story. It places responsibility upon all of us, especially those in leadership and policy making spaces. The book talks about what happened, that is memory, but I can be corrected if I'm wrong. I think what is lacking about what happened before is acknowledgement of responsibility for what happened at that particular time. There is also issue of accountability. And accountability involves different aspects. One of them is the issue of reparations, which should be addressed effectively. Again, emphasis is addressing it effectively. And also with the urgency and sincerity. The loss we are talking about was not abstract. They are measurable. They are traceable and deeply felt to this day. If there is sincerity, it is very, very possible to collect evidence, to know exactly who lost what, how many, and in what circumstances. Many families have never recovered, and I think this is a fact. Many descendants continue to live with the consequences of that dispossession. Now, you were told I'm a lawyer, got involved into Malukop. So there's what we call modern jurisprudence. That is the basis of law. And in modern jurisprudence, justice delayed, as we all know, is justice denied. Therefore, I'm using this opportunity to respectfully but very firmly urge the government of Uganda to recognize and formally acknowledge the scale of the loss suffered by the Lao people. Secondly, to implement a transparent and credible framework for compensation and reparations. The key words are transparent, and the next key word is credible framework. Those involved in government know exactly what I mean. Thirdly, to ensure that this process is timely, justice delayed is justice denied. And finally, to continue to invest in long-term recovery programs that rebuild livelihoods and restore dignity. The massive loss of cattle is a festering wound on the Lao society. A wound that is not treated does not heal. I think we agree. Reparations are not merely about compensation. They are about treating the wound of loss. They are about healing. They are about restoration and closure of a traumatic experience. Over the years, government has introduced programs such as the NUSAF, PRDP, and many others aimed at rebuilding livelihoods and restoring stability in northern Uganda. These initiatives have made contributions and they deserve our acknowledgement. However, we must also be clear that these programs, while important, were broad-based development interventions. They did not directly and adequately compensate families for specific and massive loss of cattle during the raids. Development is not the same as reparations. And I want to emphasize that development is not the same as reparations. And is a cardinal principle of human rights. Reparations, as I have just pointed out, is to restore, is to heal individual loss and trauma that was experienced. This book is therefore not just a record of the past. It captures issues that can inform policy interventions for the present and a warning of the future. The book reminds us of one proverb that says, "A child who is not told the story of the past will not know where the road bends." We know where the road bent for now. The question is whether we will correct the course of that bent road. This is the moment to call for stronger policies that ensure such tragedies never happen again. You heard Honorable Omara Atubu belaboring this point, and I re-emphasize it. We must continue to strengthen security, address the root causes of conflict, and protect the livelihoods of all communities. And when we talk about security and prevention of conflict, we must invest in good governance as the foundation of peace, security, stability, and well-being of the citizen. I could lecture on this for, as Omara said, for a long time, because it's a fundamental aspect of human rights. As we speak of justice for the victims, we must also honor the Lango resilience. Lango refused to give up. Because however long the night, the dawn will break. The people of Lango have endured. They have rebuilt and they are rebuilding. They continue to stand with strength and dignity. They have always been resilient, and this is implicit in the Lango saying, "You are not on a cheap benagere." That statement, that Lango saying, many people don't understand the true meaning of it. It is a question of resilience. When you lose something, you don't give up. You stand up and start again. Let this book remind us of what the people lost and suffered, but let it also stimulate us to work harder and reflect more on what to do for the future. We must resolve to break from the trauma of the past as a people, while we continue to pursue reparations. We must also and forget Egypt. And I think that is important and a starting point. To Daniel Omara Atubu, I want to thank you for your courage in documenting the truth, for refusing to let the history be forgotten, as you have clearly explained. Because without it, the history of the cattle of the Lango could easily have been forgotten, ignored, or even simplified by those who tell stories by word of mouth. I thank you for telling it as it is. When you read it, it tells us as what? As it is. What that means is, it did it without fear or favor. You did it honestly, you did it boldly, and above all, you did it with a considered reflection. I, however, think that there's still room for a deeper research and documentation of what happened, especially the debilitating impact it has had on the Lango society. I think that area is still vital. and those with the opportunity should look at it. To the Lango community, the Lango society, the Lango people, your collective voice on these issues matter. Your collective voice on these issues matter. And your traumatic history deserves justice. Continue to speak, to demand for justice of what happened. With those remarks, let me congratulate Daniel Omara Atubu on this important work. And I invite you, the audience, to join me by clapping together to congratulate the author of the book, Lango Cattle. Thank you very much. Thank you. So with those few remarks, I have the honor to launch the book, Lango Cattle, by Daniel Omara Atubu. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
When you buy that book, you will find that I recognize Joel Aliru-Mara when he was minister and MP in 1980 to 85. Enoke oloko ko medonyi laungan. Techa ku grupo rokunu awobe agera me oloni ngao yao tuka gana ngeo. Oloni ngo? Ha? Yang kala aburu. So, opo wono Aliru-Mara pi maru kwa. Ikaramenti minister yoboretu ochana wobe ge agwere alir na omoro kucha. Tekengo oloka me onu do choko duhu ikwa amin. Logo no jaho mayo Dok Alango ti buka karo. But Joel Aliru-Mara, very responsible minister at that time, due to just tech, the gang mano poi to poi.
A round of applause to Commissioner Joel Aliru-Mara and Mzee Dan Omara Atubu. Daniel, en diang kala buruni tidang choye bukan. Because I was about to inquire, if not, you should be able to tell us. Some of us will not be coming here tomorrow again, and when we come tomorrow, we might not find you. So we should get to know some of these things before you expire. Some of us are here because of that. There are certain things we want to know before you definitely expire. And at one moment, we are all meant to go, not so? Yes.
5 minutes. You da put money level now. Yankala Buru. No more happy about your neck. I don't know what role in Paris. President of Orwa, Melaro. Germany, America, East African community together. Your World Bank, your IMF, you should know Tikuno, Mekonyoa. The chairman I show Diku, I couldn't worry meeting. Attending a message about President. Nearly do Pacho. At a ringo, Juno and Tebe, Copter Bironi, Pacha of Petia Bear, young West to shoot. Chairman Naika and Nasha doing no sinya. It is Secretary Naika and Nasha doing Nigeria Jake. Onuti Town Can. Onu your Wesho. Te woody a jaw, Dok Alango. Manna Kopopeme, Gorna. A bit so emotional at the Congo. In a manner. Chiempe, Capupe, the Carna, Copunu, Tech, Capetuere. So, Meaco Wong, you shall more your chip, Mammy you. And a Coconacha, at one shelter company in bed or a bed of Atela. A year coco. One did you don't tell more. One did you don't know yet. So a car and I don't allow. We're not no particular boy at a Copachiela with a copy. Our company KT Terra. In a chella Piretech. Unity Chala Terra. And a year menu solutions to Pehametier. So Capero jury, you ain't got a ringu. In Miri no, you're Metibango. Metic, Pede, you're going to be more than a detector. So Carado court president. But I know when they meet the name of get militia. And a dope. You come no take a carriage here. Why for Tuma, Tanzania now chop to your doctor do what in Udupe. So police tell me what do. Me a share my jacket. They're recruiting it, you know. A man, you know, Upuni, it would be Dukuturi. Capirino cock, you need any cock no. Cock don't tear. Carabero paying ya champion, the company, Caracuba new looming on. The Tino de Cone, Ulumone, Dian, Carango, Carabu, and background, Median Carabu, no. Dai Caracciati, Tenikiti, when you're Daniel Omara Atubu. My doctorate here at Demo. The Berupetie can join Anu, the Ajanpi, or patrolling a war. What I do in the chain, a man. So, when you come here, man, or lock your job, now poor get a government a year, and to bring them out, show a book to the no, I win a bit of couple. Chimokana Larry, Bo, teach you. Bo Ramito, Amito treating, Bo Ramito healing. You know, Bo. With the borrow, you know, Chingo Kenan pay me, you Jimmy walk. And I come Chunga take company, Tima Kisha. And the two borrowman womb, car material things on my Mamia. Pien Mono company, that shows that you are remorseful. It shows that you accepted your responsibility. It shows you respected your accountability. Then we can proceed now to discuss. Team do more. Okay? Can you call me your dog picture B? No, but why don't you me you because it's remorseful. I think I teach you no other to
Babu Chingwa Kumateka pe Joel Aliro Mara. I created that allowance because I know it is very important. Even some elders seated here do not know what Dok Alango means. Now I think today we know. Eh? Mum wouldn't make one shot. I didn't get you. Bill, Bosco. Kato ko bilemon ni diang kala burgo. Literally. He's saying you cannot literally translate it word by word, but you can give the meaning. Okay, for you to take my cow, then I must be what? Down already. You first of all kill me when I'm now down, then you can take my cows, because you would have rendered me helpless. Is that it? Amani? Koinega nega dogo. Te wote dianga. Babu che wa ko kuwa wura kakano. Pira tag me wan du chenya. Now, ubiru wad wuno kakano kene amobere chat book. Enter pere waru ne chat book ye po bina jo tushu. And then po bina jo tushu ko enter ti jo mago tuna me wando no tu lo kando nga pola do. Baji rani na itu tungine. Wano po uno bino. Why you going to do it again? Can you help it? But I'm sorry for this. I am basically welcoming you here, especially you who came a bit late when we had already started. You're most welcome. And in our midst, we have also a deputy mayor who is now the full mayor at this particular moment. So she's representing the mayor, whose portrait is there hanging. And I want to thank my brother Moses Ugwangadonyo, the coordinator Lango Clemens, who is here. I want to thank our founder Sabiti, who has arrived. Yes, our other archive, living archive, Mzee Julius Odwe, rather, former deputy IGP. You're most welcome, Anna Witong. And I found John Charles Odukame. Yes. You see, Bishop John Charles Odukame rarely forgets his origin. Joel Alero Mara told us here, you should teach your children to know where the road got bent from. So for him, I think he got bent sometime back, and he's not about to correct the bent. He's military in his own ways. And jo kana ducha do biro kana poyo matek. Dakika ne wan wot chat kare buki ti ye wuna me ko ni kaka konyere dan tie. If you feel biologically inconvenienced, you can go to that main building of the city council. From the entrance, you will access places for convenience there. And there's also another one, this side in the health block. You can also access it from that side. Otherwise, I may tell one can, my brother Oscar. Okay. No problem. Now, come on, not here with the team. You are married to what a changat, Ramadan, what no one or two what a will book to what is signing. Woman, no tutti, you Jamaria Wachel. Now, Tieni Buget here ready. Come to Willow, Yindo Yamalo, what Boroska Kacha, and better don't chat away. And the chatty, wing can, Nushu Morametic, and what they walk history. Patch water dwell. Well, to me up here a deca can near manner. I reckon be Catoni, a down negative printing book, your publishing book, pay your ento, one of Tamane, Piento, your bed killing a history. Well, a bit to appear a deca can count go cooking a tea, Diane, cut a pot work on that Panyo. Permano. So, Jodo Waroka will catch a camera one book signing. Ketchienye, you take a Daniel Omara Atubu, take it to Chienye. For the rest of us, can use this opportunity now to relax a bit as we continue to sell the books. We are not going to take long for that activity. Then we will come back with Bosco Pio, who is going to give us a brief insight of the book. Poimatek, CJ Ramwote Goya Wawera no Nakamerwate Niang Natikane. Hello. In case you have a friend who should have come here but they are constrained, you can tell them to log on to Unity FM, Unity FM's YouTube channel. It is written Unity FM 97.7 Lira. Whatever is taking place here is live on Unity TV. So you can log on to Unity FM 97.7 Lira YouTube channel where you'll be watching us live in as far as this program is concerned. And we also want to thank media houses here present. Thank you very much for coming. We'll recognize you officially at an appropriate time. Thank you so much. We are having strictly 10 minutes for this particular activity of book sales and also refreshing ourselves outside. We are having only 10 minutes for that, then we resume. Dok Alango Tamani Kado go near launching a man the Yada Warroka. Be Jami Putu Don Kana Miro Tiuno. Bange yo Jami Magati book, Dakira Mercia Vino, Young Dakira Par, 1 million Muduogo Fati or Canameda do Chama Dakira Pisialoco, or check it to Buno. What Pekka were check it, Tikun Jamado Tiedo to what on Manchia. Why?
celebration with hanging on the ridge.
Okay, can I call the house to order? Could we please come back? I'm calling the house to order. Please get seated. And we finish the remaining business. Ladies and gentlemen, can we resume our seats? But as we resume our seats, allow me to recognize a team, a delegation from Acholi, who are as well claimants. A team from Acholi, can I see you by show of hands? Thank you very much. Can we also recognize the team from Teso? Can we see you? Attacker? These are our lost brothers. Instead of proceeding this side from Guatotuke, they decided to go the other way. But next time, maybe we are going there and we'll bring you back. They were fearing River Nile. For some of us who loved our goats, we had to proceed this side. But we all belong to their Take Care community. Thank you very much. You know? Sorry? Oh, now, Sarah Awarangwere is saying I've forgotten to recognize our team from Lao. People from Lao, where are you? Can I see you by yourself? You see it? Okay, thank you very much. Now, in the house, we also have Sarah Awarangwere, Honorable Sarah Awarangwere, who represents female workers here. She also contested for the position of Mayor Lira City in the last concluded election, but she did not make it, but that she was the only lady in the ring. Next time, better. Thank you, Sarah. We have already recognized Mzee Julius Odwe. I recognize also Dr. Alex Okot, our all-time friend from the GOP, the Grand Old Party. Now he's in charge, Uganda Matters University, Ngera campus, in the Holy Hill of Ngera. We have Anthony Okwenye. Mzee Anthony Okwenye is also here in the house, coming all the way from Utuke. So we also have Imat Caroline Akot, former commissioner of public service. Thank you, Imat. Joe Olang Eric, a member of the City Service Commission. Then we have Mzee Joel Aliro Mara, you already saw him. And we have Imat Rebecca Lwedo Gole, who opened and welcomed us here. She since left for other engagements. Utiekede Moin Arwada Joe Connie Arwada Joe, our horn, she's seated that side. Rose Otang Bishrom, she's seated right there. Now she has 3 legs. The last time I saw her, she was still having 2. Now she has graduated. She has 3. But we thank God for all of you. Then we have media fraternity, people who are helping us relay this information. We thank you so much. Reverend Jojo Keng is here. He led us in the prayer. Yes. Alex Okonye, thank you very much. And who are you, Mzee? Yes. Very, very good. Oh, yini ponye na ponye. Obabu chingwa po I will teach you work. Kuchame pony beru kere beru menen ni atinero work tiati yukinara. Manudo no chogo peka pony du. Why you might take now? Kado waru no koi activity ukene. Yes. Just a minute. check the
I think the book of Dek I'm to me you in a special way. Your Mara Dek Kapegi Dek Ora. Meachiel Tia Ponya, I'm a better master nam. Your Mengeratigan Gale, Philip, is a Philip Uchien, Old Chico, I love it to me, what appear among and we are Bero. Okay, Amat, Ya Aliro, Canuloni Beam, and a better master, Mengerademon. Appear a beach, you are going to be a manamano, and I had a ponya, Guinea, Liela, to Nicholas Gay, the Mayanum scholarship from my language or Ibuki. At a man, a caramel teaching practice. I think by that yell, Mel to her, Moloni Alex Okoye, or Koyaing a primary teaching practice. Otimo practical, Coma. Men and a guy over a ponya nantikan. You are me one obedo interview with him research. He come ibuki. Ginote choyodang one victims stories. I can't know you will book you cultural other than referring to certain things. So you are deka me book personally. Don't konya. What I mean,
a poignant manachiel, a poignant one in a bino conny. Come to a bino. Why a poignant one bino? Then you, Marshall would do me teach.
Book at me. About you know about you. Though you know, ain't one of when we are BTL Piramana Biro. We are from P1. You put it to the in Kobe, not a hell man of one of Kede, or the former governor Bank of Uganda. Ameolone Onegi or Bell, Alu, Papa over police officer gun, or one primary Merengera. And po you to 12 by more job.
And welcome upon Khan. Arabero Filippo Chen, a Maya Kole, a little sub county, Parasamolo Ayala. And Chama Juma and a Tipira Bungwen, we are Bero. Member you could bet Daniel Omara, Ubiluber did Yukula, American headmaster in a demonstration school. Ikaranaja, Kayoti P6, Uyero Tira Besho, Ikin, Litie Jaya Abero. Here, Moroto, Karacher, Dogolo, Uyam, Maruji, and so on. Oteyer, Otira Becho, Amotu, Ameti, Chukutia. Oteke Longilea can interview Pere. Reda. Toikaraya Daniel Omara, Muberatin Chukula. Ateyero, Kerario. Maybe to Mopel. Omara Atubu, Deborah Machen. Ilalo. Otemi scholarship, Pimoka Pa. Ichukula, no Tia, Yakeru, Tira Rio, Abonu. Atira Chelo Noti Bala. Obiro Uquano, end up of your scholarship. I will be at what again. Eka could lodge one may Uganda. Then the Catino car, I don't bear at what again. Can I look at a popol, a man, a Puyogi, or no scholarship? And a poor Matek Daniel Omara. Belonga, the Peruke, you can't hear. Dong ya yo me ko mene. Mi ado ka na mer wa te ke yo do ma wo ka nyenge. E de ku ma be. Kila nero ko me. Chara kera ni na kera kwali. Nyenu wiyere chawa duti yirwa kuja. Apor la mene de te chala pora ne na ya. Nena meta morre ko ma morra ko. Erian.
Apoyo Filipo wano poyo ba medigum. Wano bino chamarama duong me mwa mia chelle. Wano wi karo ko bino chamarama me mwa mia de mwa mia chelle. Mwa de ke kero lego da ko. Opoyo. Ngato kena me ami to me yubuka ye Alex Okoye.
Ka en word about Alex Okoye. Muzee no me mwa piera bonga na piera no. Aneno ba la ti du chapat ke eno na haloke. La mwa piera bonga en wi abir la ti du da obira bo kiu ti nero ko magwanya. Ba opoye wuro.
Alex Okoye ya olim. Ambeti yo to we. Apoya tin ni ne mwa piera wish about my teaching practice. Ingera ano akwana TTC amani ndio timu akapira abongo ya share
Oye to ikin kio ame wano pero interviewing oluo ge ento eno kene pe ubino ero ngara chiela me ubino ame story mere tikan aye koni joar warra koni tie koni bin ini rame koni tia timu wedding ngare ini joar warra ko pere do pol ko do gam bugu de ko biwa bugare na mi no de mere story mere ti kita me locked to chuwa ken
berlo akopon kan ana bedo a victim make ngoti mere dangan eyewitness lindo ya rio medema linda bichel medema rio 1988 wando no you were me go to church wedding dan jami du tetu mapot itcheng enti war do jot war reception kare chagere wan war pashu pe war hotel kitaman atie kere aya jote galo wa late dong jokene te wora ko ento duonga jotie ngato de ringu tutu yo e wal tikoni wunitie wunu kandi ologbe otunu ko jote koni kai mi to miel kai mi to chem matoko mana kiken pe bar wijo aya jote mede tetundong tu chabichele wor diukalo do ponga yuhu jote tamni nyotin kwan komboni nango obino me joining jo i karama into dogo teneno miel dogo pohero ko jote miel la lucha lut mwe pingna dogo ballo ko jote ko jodo loko rubero ko kita jo kene ko bukere ni ngara chele ko gete ko ni ngwela ni weka jo ngweli mon ni ngo miel la jo miel ngala ngupenyo lebla be en to dong te tu dong late do chao ko rub dong te tie ot komatika room sa de ha ngene kenni lua ke jo poi di hukalo cha jo te pi kena ot do liet ta pe di tem jo ngwe so te ngwe jo ne te cho ko do du me school me en musée le atubuki kum Lodovico tengi bless you kwangi kum ngora pol gi kum du chu ta choko ko yo te wot ke do te karna ping tu anyom rem kunu itiku dong jo ngado mut ya nok nendo gi kita dong ngo oti ko li do ko wot ke de I think that was the last binogi dong tutungi piano choko do ko mu choko du ma titeno choko kire ento do teda dong beda mano dong enaramo poyo eno poyo no
karang ngwela ni no ko ngwela ko to wet do ka jo ko Johnny, Kopute man lao bin Paul. Jolo Wudang Fande Wachangulo may obine ye can why Wudang maybe no. All the way from Oyam Republic. You're most welcome, Afande. Now, allow me to invite Mr. Opio Bosco to give us an insight to this book. And Bosco, we are not going to take long. You will see how to make that summary.
Thank you very much, Rolex, for giving me this opportunity. I want to thank, in a special way, Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu for this milestone. I've been doing a lot of writing, but I can tell you writing is a challenging task. And if Atubu was able to do this, it is because he knows what it is to record the story that must be recorded. Lango Cattle is a great deal, and he has made it possible for the future generation to basically have a reference on what happened in the past. And I want to thank everybody else who has. My job is very easy. I'm supposed to take you through the summary of the book. The book has chapters, all right? We have key chapters from chapter 1 up to chapter 8. Now, in chapter 1, the book looks at the origins of Lango Cattle. How did Lango get cattle? How did Lango acquire cattle? From the very beginning of Lango arrival to this place. The book traces the acquisition of cattle by Lango from South Sudan, where Lango came through to Touré, and they came with cattle. This is evidence in the writings of Dryburgh, one of the colonial leaders who was here in Lango. He worked in Lango between 1912 to about 1923, and he wrote a book titled Lango, a Nilotic Tribe of Uganda. So in his book, he basically traces the origin of Lango together with what Lango came with, and it was clear in his book that Lango had cattle when they came. Other ways that Lango also got cattle was through marriage. Marriage was a big avenue for Lango to collect cattle. If you had a girl, you had a daughter, you knew you had cattle. And the more girls you had, the more cattle you had. So that was one way Lango was able to accumulate cattle. Also through donation, like if I had many cattle and somebody else in my neighborhood had nothing, I was able to donate a cow to that family so that they could also raise more cattle from the one cattle that I would have given that person. And of course, I'm not going to go through everything, but briefly, these are 2-3 key ways that Lango were able to raise cattle. In chapter 2, we looked at the values of cattle to Lango. It became clear that Lango was so attached to cattle. Without cattle, you could not talk of Lango. And this was not for nothing. It was because cattle was a greater part of Lango. It was their source of economy. And because it was a source of economy, it was called lame. Not for nothing, because lame means wealth. So cattle to Lango was wealth. Everybody was working very hard to raise cattle. Every family, it was like a race to raise herds of cattle. In the process of researching, we went to different parts of Lango. I remember in Kohoro, there was a man who was said to have had about 9 kraals of cattle, each kraal totaling about 200 herds of cattle. And he had gazetted or dedicated one of the kraals for settling issues of reparations, things like war and any other problems within his clan. That was a key value, because if one man could just sacrifice a whole kraal for solving the problems of the entire clan, that shows you how valuable cattle was to Lango. or were to Lao. And the other thing about the value was marriage. Marriage in Lao was, the center of marriage was cattle. If you didn't have cattle, you didn't have a wife. In fact, the more cattle you have, or the more cattle you had, the more wives you had. And that was a big deal. So marriage was centered on cattle. And because of cattle, families flourished. Many people who did not have cattle were helped to get married by near neighbors or near clan members. You could also see that in the book, you will find that there was nutritional value that Lao got from cattle. Milk, there was not only milk, but meat. The more cattle you had during occasions like parties, like end of year ceremonies, Christmas, people had cattle and they could pick one cow and slaughter, and the party and events were very successful because of that. So it was a source of nutrients for the family, but now that cattle went, or cattle are no more, you can see the suffering that people of Lao are going through. Lao was also able to derive salt from cattle, the byproducts of cattle. You could see that other than salt, because they were able to get salt by using the cow dung. Cow dung was processed into salt, because you know that cow dung has salt in it. So all the Lao people were able to derive salt from cow dung. Other than that, the cow dung was also very useful for smearing the floors. Homes were beautiful because the floors were clearly cemented, nicely cemented, using cow dung. So you can see the value of cattle was not only in the meat, in the milk, but it was also in the byproduct. Now, in chapter 3, we look at the systematic plunder of Lao cattle. By the time cattle were completely swept away from Lao, that was in between 1986 to about 1990, almost every family had some reasonable number of cows. All these were swept in millions. And we could see that in the process of plundering Lao wealth, it was not something that was done haphazardly, it was systematic. We discovered in the process of research that the first thing that happened before the raiders came was a helicopter that would fly in an area to do surveillance of the cattle presence. And when the raiders were coming, they were following the map that would have been generated from the surveillance that were carried out earlier. So it was a systematic method, and the people who came were well armed. They had all the weapons they needed. Many of them were dressed in military uniforms, and they were wielding modern weapons as well. And in the process of taking cattle, they did not only take cattle, they also took other resources that Lao people had, all kinds of wealth. They took goats, they took livestock generally. So, and then apart from that, they also meted out atrocities to the communities of Lao. You will see in the subsequent chapter where we gathered so many stories of ordeals that survivors could tell us. Everywhere we went, different stories, how people suffered. So other than taking cattle, they also did a lot of grievous crimes on Lao people. Women were raped, people were killed, and it was terrible. So you will read that in that chapter 3, which is the systematic plunder of Lao cattle. In chapter 4, we look at the survivors' ordeals. We selected a few stories of survivors, people who had recollections of what they went through. There were very many, hundreds, but we could only, in the process, zero down on a few, and they were captured here. So this is graphic evidence of what Lao people went through, and you will read that in chapter 4. In chapter 5, it's about what Lao went through after the cattle raid, immediately after the cattle raid. And this chapter is called From Cattle Plunder to Land Grabbing. That's what happened. When we went to do research, you could hold your tears because what people were telling us were really, really horrendous. Immediately, the raiders wiped out cattle from that side. They came and took over the land. They settled in the land. They actually erected their kraals in the land of the Lao people. And they were dancing in the evenings and enjoying themselves while the Lao families who remained around could see and they were in pain. They deliberately destroyed water sources that women were drawing water from. They brought their cattle there and mess up the water sources. And also, they were regularly or often raping women without fear. In one situation in Oture, a powerful cattle raider came and settled in the homestead of a family. And he built his hut within the homestead. And then after finishing his hut, he ordered the man, the owner of the family, to empty his house of everything, sofa sets, everything, and relocated those things into his newly built hut. He took away everything that this man had. And besides that, he also took a daughter of this man and made that daughter his wife. And then when time came for them to leave, he left with the daughter. The daughter has never come back. So these are very, very serious deals that Lao went through. In chapter 6, we look at cattle compensation deception. As you've heard from the author himself, he was talking about how the process of reparation, the process of restocking Lao cattle is been taking years. It's people waiting forever. So this book captures clearly the process of reparation, the process of Lao people going to court and defeating the government, and the justice has never been honored. So you'll read that as well in that chapter. Then chapter 7 is called The Dark Future. These are the consequences that are emanating from the cattle poverty. Now that Lao people don't have cattle, life has changed, not for good, but for bad. Situations in Lao, as you will read in the book, there's poverty, there is wrangle for land, because in those days, a lot of people were preoccupied by their cattle. They were basically working on cattle. That was their economy. But when cattle were wiped out, people resorted to tilling land. And that put pressure on land. Land became so scarce. And you can see now, every day you hear a story of people fighting over land. Sometimes the fight is even deadly, bloody. These are the consequences. And there are other consequences that are that were captured from the loss of cattle in Lao. Chapter 8, it's about the author. You will read about the author. It's 3 pages coverage of the author. An author who actually worked a lot. There's a lot to learn about him. He is a source of inspiration for our people. It is important that this part is also taken seriously. If you are you bought a book, let the family read, let young people read. In fact, we were discussing the other day that even schools, we need to have copies in schools so that our children in schools can also read this and learn from the book what Lao went through. And finally, we covered, you can see the references. These are the sources of knowledge. Because in the process of writing the book, you can see that the author was able to research a lot. You can see references took about from page 185 to 189. All that is references. It means he has really researched extensively. Generally, that's all I can say about the summary of the book, and I thank you very much for coming and being part of this great event. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Bosco, for that quick forward of the book and summary of the book, rather. May we now have Mzee Julius Peter Odwe, who is going to give us a forward. You're most welcome. A round of applause also as we welcome him here. He's one long elder whom I trust so much on issues of documentation. He has always documented a lot of things, including our history, trekking all the way from Ethiopia up to this place. He has it. Say you're most welcome.
Oyo, Arab Queer, Jordan Metikan, Honorable Omara Atubu, Honorable Omara Liro, yo kero kuonye kero tichagamente, wandu samatikan, tiabe me wan bedo tinkan. Apa nemiro alok tilemono bien kop achwa tilemono. Eto pijo apengea anyinga Julius Odwe, pasiti doholo, an atio tichagamente ma piara dek. Ante bino ya tichagamente, ame mwahana potpo ramo piara pichiel. Dongana manati weo, mwaha para pich, beru ticha tek tutual, meweko tichagamente, yo kene meru mwaha. Aberu PM kere minister, ame aman minister me finance, Roni Matia Kasaja. Nikara pingo mi yini iweko ti ngomoni mede teach. Wekdo mede dong wahari o keken. Ako ni minister. Ane na lochi me Uganda. Kado tinu tune toro chik. Ame miro ana ngungi nariye. Pedo aberuan. Kaimi tuuno teacher and teach para police on your deputy inspector general of police. Ati otisuko under the question. Atweru obedi balisi alao moro atami yotam keken atakela loha. Bien teacher police umia woro matek kabelo longe wilo bokan America, China, Europe, wene. Aneno yo atikere chan atene yo atikere lonyo. Ameo kwenye dini kwa kere ni. Kai romo kwanyo ginori kane romo dok kere pas. Dung jame mogore kan gira pina kwanye kunu. Atene wo kere chido holo. Ame anda ko ni teacher police. Kapenge olwa betwero ti teacher police. Nyiringi yo nge kwena gino yae nge kiregi eno miyo chik te teach. Dompi mano miyo anate nungo kare mebiro rwate kede yo apapa ta don. Ate niyang jama pol. Dan Honorable Omara Atubu donga worma yate kobani an mira anabina lok inying bukereni. Don't ando ate kone perach, ando abino lo. Don't allow kid man. I would like to make some remarks on this day as a forward writer of this book, now given title Lango Cattle, From Wealth to Curse. Lonyo ame Virokumaraj I know Honorable Omara Atubu very well since 1979, when I was in Makerere University. Well-educated person and speaks for the voice of the voiceless. A professional and a politician who has liberated many people from the doldrums of injustice. As a former MP of Otoke, Minister of Land, through thick and thin, in the open truth, strengthened the liberation of not only Lango people, but many others, including the time of LRA and cattle rustling. Daniel's father vision, 2007. You are aware there's a regional police headquarters here. I told him that people are suffering from Namasale to Gulu. How can they now look for police office? Why don't you write? And he saw it was good. And he took responsibility to advise government to create regional police headquarters for Lango people in Ilera. And that's why we have that now called Kyoga, North Kyoga Regional Police Headquarters at Eruta. I want to thank also the former chairman LC5 Lira, Franco Ojo. He did not waste time to donate land for that purpose. And that is good for the peace of our people. I'm happy Daniel has invited me to offer this forward. The write-up gives me the honor to inform readers of the book that as a senior consultant of security governance, have the upper hand to approve the importance of this book. To say so, the book exposes the truth about how the 1986 loss of cattle, now 40 years ago, continue to deny the voice of the voiceless, their culture. They have talked here the importance of cattle in Lango culture. Major sources of income and nutrition, including employment, education, political position, and development of the Lango people. They have said about food. You have seen Honorable Omara Liro is a very tall man. Why is he tall? Because his 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grandfathers had drunk milk, and milk caused people to be tall. Today we are going to see many Lango people are going to be short because 40 years people are not drinking milk. That's the greatest impact on the dignity of the Lango people, which some people have tried to do. Tallness will not be the culture of Lango people because people will not grow tall. The core message continued are in chapters, as you have heard Mr. Bosco has tried to explain the origin of Lango Cattle, the values, and the 1986 plunder, and many others. The deception of the compensation. The Lango people know that they suffered many times from many challenges, that despite people don't know that when the Lango were already here in 1894, there was a disease called rinderpest, which came from Ethiopia. The Italian soldiers imported the cattle from India to slaughter for their soldiers' diet, and there was a disease. That disease was quick spread up to Lango here and killed many cattle up to Dokolo. And the Lango lost a lot of cattle, probably more than what we have seen in the cattle raid, with the difference that the people were not killed, But of course, somebody could have died out of hunger because there was no food. The Rina pest, which was introduced by the Italians, caused Lao to lose cattle for the first time. But the Lao people did not sit down. There were no sorts of government where Lao would run. Lao by itself was a government, was a state, and the leaders of the Lao at that time had to look for a way forward. And by 1920, a lot of cattle had been recovered. How? They killed elephants and took the elephant tusk to Kakamari in Kabong, where there was a world market for Arabs to buy things. So many Lao hunters took the elephant tusk there and they sold to those people. Whatever they were given, maybe saucepans, beads, and so on, they exchanged with the cattle from the Karamajong and they came back home with the cattle. There were a few others who went to Bunyoro and they brought iron ore, and they manufactured hose, which they took to Teso in Serere and Ngora, where they did butter trade, and a few others, including salt and the potato vines, the Lao people used for the recovery of cattle. In 1968, government took census of cattle. This census of cattle put Lao at number 4 in the Ugandan communities. Out of 3.6 million cattle then, the Lao had 371,000 heads of cattle. I tried to calculate how many Lao people own, if it was a ratio. The Lao were about 560,000. So when I calculated, I found that 2 Lao people were owning 1 animal. That was a very big ratio. Other communities never had that ratio, even if the number of cattle in their area was higher than the one of Lao. But the ratio of Lao to cattle was a very strong one. But today, the government made assessment, census of cattle 2021. They found 15 million cattle are now in Uganda, of which the Lango people have only 800,000. 800,000. It was, Lango is number 9 in the recent census. 1968, Lango was number 4, which means that the problem of cattle rustling has affected the Lango much more. So when I rated it, how many Lango were there for the animals? I found that it's now 5 to 1 animal. 1968, 2 to 1 animal. But now they are 5 to 1 animal. Of course, we don't know whether all the cattle in a Lango belong to Lango people. Mathematics simply says those are the cattle in a Lango. But it is possible that these cattle are not many belonging to the Lango people. So the Lango have suffered. And therefore, we are talking about the roots, the origin. Bosco has said here that the Dribag gave his view about origin of cattle from Lango coming from southern Sudan. But I want to say, Dribag did not have enough evidence. He could not track out this record at that time. For me, because of the police, I've been tracking the record of Lango people. And I found that the Lango people are from Jerusalem, 950 BC, dispatched by King Solomon to accompany his son called Menelik, whom he had produced with the Queen of Seba called Makeda. In that period, they had been given cattle King Solomon gave them cattle to go and live a new kingdom at Aksum in Abyssinia. At Aksum, also Queen of Sheba had cattle, and he allocated it to those who came from Jerusalem. And they lived there in the name of Beta Israel. And living there, they later on descended it down. They were still the Lango people, but under different conditions. Calling Beta Israel was difficult. So when they came down to Lake Rudolph, they called themselves Isera. Isera means a wrong pronunciation of Israel. So then they came with that Isera. Today, everywhere in Itesho, Lango Karamoja, that name is there. If you say Serere, the origin of Serere is Isera, which comes from Israel. If you go to Kotido, you find a clan called Nisera. Among the G, Nisera. Why? They are from Isera, Israel. Kuman people call it Basere. 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 Isera, who are Hebrew people from Jerusalem. So we should praise ourselves. Some people doubt what I say, that they want to do research. Please, you can do research and get this very information. But that's what it is. How do you confirm that we are Hebrew people? It is our names, our culture, and our way of life. I've read in the Bible 430 names, surnames of Lango people are there, but with a different spelling. If you say Dow, some people in Lira here call Dow. Dow is David, who was wrongly pronounced by a British, but was supposed to be David. In the text, they call it a Dow. But other people here in Okio Gwankoltum, you have a Moor. A Moor is in the Bible. It is written there, 400 something names. When it comes to Lango language, people keep saying that we are talking Luo. Yes, there are some Luo words there, but it is not a major component of the Lango language. I've tried to explain to people 100 words which are Hebrew. Goro, Hebrew also call it Goro. Konjipe, Ituo, Goro. You ask Hebrew, how do you call your father? Abba. Lauda mom luo kitoni Abba. Karwando bere jomene. Now koni anjini dek. That is a trinity. Imakari ochungi dogola kan me luo murut ba. Owe. Komoti na dek. Owe mene, we lo ba papa. We mene, we lo ba word, we mene, we lo ba chunya shell. Eno mi lo ba te winyu kop. Hate dohiye. Hate ti yugina me ati. Mano biro te kwaro me lao me nyuto. Mano wood anatia kone lao ya kede dog I Jerusalem. Tuno mani yenu lao wo dog. Bien pe urunyu dusu. Yari kono kwalo eno ken pe urunyu dusu. Lao wo dog mwa tutu mi ario imi abongwen. Amedo wanati ye tindi. Akoni biara bongwen tutu mi achele mi abore biara bongwen angwen. Ame unu lao do tikan bino ma dog. Mwa nyuri o ma dog. Lao bina chako nying pin kaini wurro kabira pole lao kani districts dusu inu kana mo uluni achandiang idokolo tie kabira dek ama uluni achandiang kabira kene districts kene achandiang tie pingo achandiang tie lao mutie kokodok ama bino to ama gino poyo kede enu dokuno e karme doko to lao da chako nying pin adonyi mo Gawarra molata, borromo, nambieso, anambini chiem, chamomo, diam. Baluda monu ti nam. Lengi me nambieso telong ya nambini chiem, tedo berdong nambieso. Ululi da neno doko pung malo kusa loka matek. Teko ni, oh, hala ya, sa ente. Kana dokti ye. Dong lao dong tako ya longo. Sa ente, te longo ni sa wente. Ite nungo ni kopi entia Paul. Manu giname lao nungo tigere kuo, ame yigi yo mechel. Ame jeme ni lao mironge. Donga man dokpe, ente wanote mugina ngo. Maro to bocho kopkan ame wan mi ti kede eno mi la ti wono kede kopa ruot memi yo kopa maro do bera tek la o ngi o ruot eno langa man do pichan mi yo pa ne ruot pe timo gi noro ruot timo gi noro luba ngato pe tu kede wan ro ko be langa ni o mi to langa piera ngwen adon te kanyo ke ni no piera ngwen how te lego ai tene no ngo ate mere Kwenye lengi, abisa, ikabere tusu. Jo ti bala kwenye gumwe. Kanyo kechiri kanyo, chawa bichi laken. Manu enoti ya kanyo pe. Ento nino piera ngwen. Kajo pe romo kelo doka lengi romo kuto kede ruot. Ruot tebi nudu doka lengi, iyore maoro keken. Iyore megina pe otio ungeyo. Doka lengi, donka wano pe kede ye. Wan gina mo kobo o tera wao keni tia wo wora ala lara a chechima ati mo gina ngo ni agelo dokalangi gino te loko kodo te koni a do kono bero do kama mi yote wa kulama pido do kapida lemo pido do kapida lengi po woro ko be gamene ni konywa lemo pido do kapida kadi gamene pe tur do ke nana ko be wo lengi memo amia piera biki nyim doke poda bino chole gamenti tro bino ruenyo tro bino porro gamena nyena bino cholo jome onyor wor pido muni me England bino gero kun jo ame otimo bale do komgido pe donc gamena metie bino chole apati na meluba mabino cholo ento wana ye wa mirbe tie mewe wano tim ginoro igina me pira tek kai ko ni lim yamme wan unu tie kede pi kwan o tie kede pi nyom o tie kede pi riamachan tie kede pi yotgom tie kede me chama tie kede me ko kom liel tie kede me waha Mano supero limango wanu luoni lim kai ni woro tu heti kano luoni anya lima penyo ka jo ngeo ngo mi luoni anya lima an kitame ayenyo kede teko pere obedo ni la ngeo woto ba ni Elohim do ile me burania gindo telu ngagoro ni lim Pero mo kuo abong lim. Pero mo kuo abong bang. Pero mo kuo abong wood. Wood ena miana tek. Miana tie. Dong man tie ko belango ko ningo. Wan por mo be di lonyo abong wood. Lango me kara chuan chao miu ko kitono. Gino ngiyo ningo. Wood ena miu wa lim. Wood ena miu wa kuo. Leme burania. Elohim, the creator. Ename niyo kwa jo beda yot wel do ame jo pidi la kana na wini trillion a chel .9 ni trillion a chel ele bla ngo do lungo tek anda roni a ruta rita a chel ikera bomwen to na bomwen a ruta rita a chel ke de to na bomwen ena mani chani ke yo ariyo para ngwen rutin kayo ona bol mar tu bukeru mar liru ngeo ni banya do katie banya nyual aguru masana ribo banya ni anu ni amanti 3.5 trillion engino mi ugamete tia luro bien korko boni jeki pe chulo ngoti anyual amangi no kaoneno banya tuero la odo tuero la mi do bola mi udo kora de hangwen kando pe otuno dusu Ada te wo bedo ko bi otumoko giniro nen ko pe kut mani no bedo pat pe obedo Paris model People Paris model. Gino mi you Paris model, gino mi bot yo, gino mi yo. Ento wiki pe will, ikope kom gelo Dok Alango. Laone na kian, o borre lasi ro, ame onu tie, adueri, nuti dok, ramo tutumi ario. Dokin, ruenya. O dala cosmas, me amorata, nuti dok, ramo tutumi a chele mi a beach. O mako dala cosmas, out ete yote uniku suroti. Jo me amorata igi pe wang. Ono bo mara lirene kubokani, dongo lobo pati, dongo dano. Dongo lobo pati, dongo dano. Umatu kubokani, dongo dano ko yai chun. Miru wan chun wakong beta me okwe. Miru yo tim kisa. Miru yo kwa kisa. Dong tin. Utino me lao. Tido pong. Lira kan. Luoni. Mi utino me corridor. The corridor sulwe. They are now rogue speakers. You know to your lab. What take? Tino yo pong lira pingo. Ikedi town no kene. Tungi petie. Yodo toko. Lonyo do toko. Wano tika. Nyom petie. Ur petie. Wano tino petie. Chukul mia bitiel piera bore lang. Chukula rioka kene na me. Kope yogana ne diate mabe. Karaka wando tini ene. Peo nuo ka meyo tini wa chung. Nuo tia neko wa yorabo. Lang yungi mano. Ni wana mwaka wa biru ni ene. Yungi karmono no. Apapa dunkia ukobo kasha. Ni eti mwaka biara bongwena biru. Karmene me bere wilo botiu dongano no. Jo mena me abinu weko kan. Lonyo ena miyo wa romo tichote weko. Jo kan. Ajo tebero kede nyin. Ate bera ber. Ate koboni. The country should learn from this book that now impoverished due to loss of their cattle, which led to poor education and so on. And yet the Lango did great things. Somebody mentioned here, 1877, Lango stopped slave trade in Uganda. That's why people in Bunyoro, Busoga, and Buganda are very many. Nobody praises Lango for that. But Lango has done it. They have done a great thing. Who was financing Lango? It was the Lango culture. Then it comes to the question of Field Marshal Dok Alango. He's the one who created East Africa. Because East Africa was fractured because many Arabs had taken over Zanzibar. When Okello Field Marshal took over the leadership of Zanzibar, they got independence. Zanzibar and Tanzania became one country. East Africa became East African Community. And that we need a praise, we need to be supported. Lango people have done wonderful things. Honorable Omara Atubu, I want to thank you so much for all that you have done on this book, which you are saying it is there for us to find a new direction. Honorable Omara Lira, you have said, akalaburo. Akalaburo. Ilebla ngachon man rudio jalo kome. Jo meti mo apira deg tu ni piera ngwen. Munyela ore ko lunio jalo kome. Enda do romo to e ka moro piken. Anyi men lo bono tabera be. Ana ko boni kayo chu. Kari kunu gaminta gelo wa nyo pe. Wan ti tisario na machel lego. Menino piera ngwen. Me ario tebiro kayo chu. Bien do kwalo do ke potie. Wan yero timgi kisa. Kagin poro motim binu nungu kisa. Man lo bero kopo kene. Kayo chu. Miro kubi gamene ni wana metu kayo chu. Juariti monyu. Juariti ame miro kulang peta kuro. Miro gino bino te bino kayo chu. Ikom jamo kena me wana bolo mara tu. Mara liro bero kopo kan. Don pi mana ko ni. Buki do bero me akwana. Meke la loha lohe lao. Pi jo ame duongi pe. Onyopo roma winyo. Ona bol ma to don eno yabo duange. Ka duani en pro lo. Wek ko kala do bin gehe. Ko pa ma romo ko beno. Jojo Kamalo, Betkedo, Boy.
I warned you before. Please don't forget this gadget here, sir. Excuse me, sir. Oh, it's yours, eh? I was about to donate it to him. Okay, may we clap for JP? This is a walking encyclopedia, and we need to protect him jealously. We may have differences here and there, but I think he's one of the elders here that we should protect very well at all times. Department wa mecho ya mut wana miruni unuong jamidu. Journalists would want to know a bit of medical science. You would want to know about philosophy. You would want to know about culture. You want to know about agriculture. You want to know about each and everything of human survival. So we cherish such a person. Now allow me, in a very special way, invite my brother Moses Donyo, who coordinates Lango Clemens. And I don't know how you're going to do this, Moses. Yeah, because we are already beyond schedule. We need to do it sharp before we can leave.
With great honor, I want to take this opportunity, with this great honor, to speak on this book launch by Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu. I'm grateful for this morning, this afternoon, to be here. Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu, who is the author of the book, Honorable Omara, our commissioners, which is here, the former Deputy Inspector General of Police, Julius Udre, and many other dignity that are around. Today, it has been a very wonderful day for me, including even the Lango war claimants and actually war claimants, Tesla war claimants, as we transform ourselves into the Greater North United War Claimant Association. Honorable Daniel, I'm happy to say we honor your invitations to march. So by the time you honor us also to invite us, it was very, very excited for us. And our ministers here, I have a number of dignity that have come with. I have the people that have come from Acholi, who is represented by the Acholi Death War Claimant Association. It's called Julius Leke. I will give you 2 minutes to come and say. You can't go back, you come to Lango, and then you go back without making any speech here. First wait. Secondly, I also honor to have beside me here the chairperson for the Greater North. That is none other than Julius Uche from Kapirayong, but is the one that is coordinating, is the chairperson for Teso, Lango, and Acholi. Is here for recognition. Yes, he was a former MP. He has been an MP with the Honorable Minister during those periods, and he has also been a district chairperson, LC5 chairperson, and then he graduated to MP. I also privileged to have the chairperson for Teso War Claimants who have come with him, Ogwang Olebo, my namesake. Minutes down here, we have the treasurer for the Greater North. That is the Leon Elizabeth Akulo, who is our General Secretary for Lango region, and at the same time double as the treasurer for the Greater North. Minutes there, we have the chairperson for Lango, war claimants, Said Ogwan, who have come with us. I also honor to have the district coordinators who are around. You first start up for recognition, the district coordinator and chairperson. The first one on that side, that is Stella Apio, is Floba Kokoro. She's the chairperson of Patch War Claimant Association. The follow one, that is the Florence, is the chairperson for Lira City. And then we have the vice chairperson for Kwania, that is Utim Peter. Udon Peter is the vice chairperson for Kwania. Then we have Peter Tia, that is the coordinator for Yam district. And then we have Utire Sam, the coordinator for Lira district. That one standing is Okelo Bosco, the coordinator for Apache district. And then a minutes there we have other members that is within. Joke Joel, stand up for recognition. He is a coordinator for Okelo Betty. You know, currently we are using under one umbrella. That is the Greater North United War Claimant Association. So for him, he has been a coordinator for Okelo Betty and is with us. Then I have the coordinator for Young Town Council. Then for Chaba. Then we have also the chairperson for Yam district. That is Moses. Then ministers, there are some few elders and who are very great to the association. I have honor to introduce the little a real Mike. A real Mike, who has been even testified in court. The number that the Honorable was talking here, the Julius Udwe was saying here, he presented court because when the court called him as a veterinary officer, and during that time when the animals was taken, he was on our invitation, he went to court and represent Lango. And he told exactly the number of the animals and how the animals get lost. And then also I have our Lang Joe, who is also our representative from Utuke. Those are some of the few members I want to introduce. Honorable, I want to appreciate you so much. Honorable Omara Atubu, the first day I'm actually when you get in here, I remember when I was out while my donor 2 times. I tell you, I'm in what Pashwaki, I tell what I do. Your qualo dog, area don't met to me. Then my area, my barracks. Take a meadow pecata. And then a man, Muzetero Kobawane, Minister, a man who Omara Atubu. Bido Mechum Pilau. Your Mahashani Pomedo Quenoteria. I remember that history. No Puratim Mahabo when, but a Poyona Hatin, and then Anatachako when you get his name, Yomaho, because he was speaking the truth. And he continued with that truth until now. So we ought to clap for him. I also recognize him during his time as a minister and an MP for Tuke. He really transformed Tuke during his period of leadership. Not even all of Tuke and Lango. Appreciate him when he was appointed the Minister of Land. He struggled to bring us the original land office here. Can't we clap for that? That was a very great opportunity. We know that most of the original thing, they always take it to Gulu. I think my brother should forgive me when I talk about this, because he's from Gulu, and most of the original offices is taken to Gulu. But for him being a minister from Lango, he decided to say, let's have it here and help us to get, we are getting the land title very cheaply and even other activity. Recently I wanted to update my land title. It was very easy for me to not even to travel to Kampala. So that one I need to appreciate you, and that is And then also, you love a number of teams for Tuke. I want to appreciate you. You made people of Tuke to get more education. They study and they continue to go. So, Honorable, I need to appreciate you so much for that. Referring this today in the books that you have learned about the compensation. Invitation. I need to bring our brothers from Acholi who are in the struggle. I need to bring our brothers from Teso who are in the struggle. And I'm happy that today they're here. Issue to do with the cattle. We all well know that cattle from Lango here were a source of wealth, as you have said. And that is where we always get our education, we get our health, we get our whatever the domestic use. But after that, it has really affected us a lot. It's like me who is speaking. Because when our animals was taken, I had 3 sisters. They were just married. And a lot of cattle was there also. When it reached a time, the helicopter came. Somebody mentioned about the helicopter. I witnessed that one, the one that came from Icheme, passing through a loading. Then when it passed through Tuan, and my mama said, today, I don't expect that we are going to sleep here because this helicopter now passed. Very in the morning, the team arrived and they took all the animals that we had, including those of butter, including bodo, udon, and etc. And some of them whom we ran to hit to Aboka. Before we reached to Aboka, we got another one at Center Car. That is where another bunch was taken for hours. From that time, study became very difficult. Only that I go ahead, it was through the God mercy that sometime when you focus your head, you get opportunity from where even you don't expect. And that is where I pull up with my education, but other brothers of mine, they could not. So, Honorable Atubu, you have done a very great job to bring this into light. I have not yet read the books completely, but I promise that I will go and look through, and we encourage our young people to do the same. They should begin reading those books. I know for us in Africa, we are lazy in reading. Some even they may get the book, they just go and hide it somewhere. Remember one day there was somebody who was translating. They were launching for the book. Then they say, this book is very important for you. They say, yes, and you only book it back. So people thought the translator was mad. But later, we realized it was meaning the same thing that we are not going to read. But I encourage our members that are here that let's go and read the book. I know time is not our side. Before that, let me invite the chairperson Acholi just to come and greet you and also honor him to be in this great function. Thank you. You are welcome. Okay.
Thank you very much. The organizing of this meeting, the launch of very important books that we are going to read and will help us in following up the losses that was occurred. I'm not going to waste time. The greeting from Acholi sub-region, they say they should come and greet all of you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. We are one because all of us originated from Bar Gazelle, and we are Luo speakers. We are the people of Labon and Gipi, and our father is called Olum. So because of confusion, which is still continuing up to now, we put in prayers so that we go ahead and get our animals. This idea of coming together in Greater North started last year. It was our initiative. We took some times to find who is the chairperson of now sub-region and who is the chairperson of Tejo sub-region, because we were divided, because the government is using divide and rule. And that is why we were being tortured here and there. I'm very happy with this book. I will just go and take it to people of Acholi and the members of Greater North. You are welcome, because we already organized a meeting in Gulu. And all of you are welcome there. So we are one. Let us be united. This word of Clement has brought us together. We shall even continue as a foundation now, because you may think they have done it wrongly, but people are coming together. Thank you very much. My name is Olega Julius.
Honorable Juliet, allow me to invite the chairperson for the Greater North to greet you and say some few words. Thank you.
My name is Julius Ochen, the chairperson of the Greater North War Claimants Association. Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu, the author of this book, before I say anything, let me invite my chair for TESO to greet you, then I can close it.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, may you clap for Honorable Atubu Omara. Atubu Omara. Atubu Omara and I have ever gone through thin and thick. And he knows it. The time I was released on bail, I met him in the Uganda House, not Uganda House, Ministry of Power and Energy. He asked me, you have been released, why did your lawyer allow the judge to discontinue making judgment? I told him, well, government had sent a null, and he said that was enough. Besides that, Honorable Atubu here came to our home, my ancestral home, to attend prayers for my late uncle, Francis Ekunyo, who was killed from here in Lira by Captain Gala over me. So he came here, he came to their home to attend those prayers. My brother here, Aliro Mara, was very known to my auntie, Irene Mulu. So I know them very well. They are not new to me. Ladies and gentlemen, I must thank Honorable Atubu for having put his title properly, Lango Cattle, from wealth to curse, which is true. He says, a home without cattle is a body without a soul, which is very true, according to even the other gentlemen who analyze about our ethnic movements, how we came from in Ethiopia. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to say, let's not take it very lightly. We must follow what belongs to us, because it was taken under the watch of government. It was taken under the watch of government, and that is our government. We all belong to one government, although this government exists through divide and rule policy, which we have learned in history. But I'm asking all our chairmen who are here, more especially those from Gulu, please pull up your socks and assist us. Join us in a strong manner so that we shall move in unison, all of us. That's very, very important. I don't want to waste your time. The chairman is here, he might talk for 3 hours or 5. So let me not waste your time. I thank you so much, and may God bless you all.
I will not make that mistake. I want to say I'm Julius Ochen. I want to say I'm very grateful to be here. When I received the invitation, I said, no, I must get to Lira. First of all, when I'm here, I know I'm at home. I'm at home. Because the Teso community and Lango community and the Karamoja, we have the same origin. Just like our brother from Acholi Adipudi. We share the clans, we share many things. So when I'm here, I am not in a situation like I'm from maybe Bunyoro or whatever the case. I'm at home. I also want to say, today I speak to you as a leader, not from anywhere else, but from the sons and daughters of Lango. They are the ones who trained me. These people you see in front. I was trained as a UPC young boy. That the time when these giants, including the late Dr. Kulepa, Ben Wacha, Putumoy, Angiro, Mati Cecilia, whatever they get, that the time these were bulls for Uganda, for East Africa. Whenever they spoke anywhere in the country shakes. And what they say is what the country will follow. I want to tell you there is now a vacuum in Uganda. Very big vacuum because of the absence in the steering wheel of government in this country. And we from outside, we blame you, the people of Lango. Blame you. You have a slower restoration of this country by not sticking to the right drivers. Why were you panicking? How can you train the drivers for so many years to deliver people? Then suddenly you use individualistic interest to hijack the drivers from the steering wheels. As a part of the country, we are very bitter with you in Lango. And you have allowed the people to confuse Lango, to misdirect Lango and the entire North. Part of our suffering were responsible for the decisions we took that have manipulated the entire North. Today, we are here to witness the launch of this book. Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu, what you have stated in this book, it is truly the picture of the entire Greater North. Whether you go to Teso, you go to Acholi, you find the same in this book. The only difference is the name. This would have been the Greater North Cattle. Thank you so much. You have laid a foundation for the community of the Greater North to continue moving forward, to agitate and demand what belongs to them. We have been pursuing the issue of compensation. We were isolated. Imagine the regime in power managed to create false groups and use those groups to deprive the northerners what belongs to them. And today, through this book, we have reinforced the truth. When you hear about payment, they pay other people that are close to them. They pay the people that they steal money together with and leave the genuine, true people that suffer, they leave them aside. And they have never allowed us to meet with the president, despite the high courts in Acholi, in Lango, in Teso, passing judgment, releasing decrees, issuing certificates from high courts to allow this victim benefit. All that is being blocked. That is the ground now we are coming, mobilizing the entire North. Our lawyer, Omongole, Richard, and company advocate, had done also consultation in South Africa, Britain, and US, and found that we, the claimants from here, can file a case in London, in UK, as a means of putting pressure to this regime to pay you who won cases in court. And now, our lawyers are just waiting for us to pay the dues that the court asked, so that we can continue to take the mantle of this book, as you are proposing this book, that continue with the struggle. One way we could do is this one, that we must go to that court. We have exhausted the Ugandan courts. Let's go to the other court and hear what the other court will tell us about the payment of what belongs to us, what was deprived from us. So many atrocities were committed, to name, so many. But we are very grateful. Very grateful. Our gallant son in front. Honorable Omara Atubu, the list is endless, what he has done in this country for the people of Uganda. It is endless. I cannot start counting from here what he has done. It will go up to sunset. Not for Lango, for the entire country and beyond. You cannot finish to count. Even if I start naming what he has done when I was in the parliament, when he was a minister, too many. And these are the people we need now when the journey is troublesome. You don't use a pre-amateur driver to take you on a difficult terrain like the hill areas of Kapchorwa. You need a senior driver to drive you. And we, the people of Uganda, we mourn with tears to you, the people of Lango. This suffering would have ended. You accepted deception and brought the rest of Uganda down. You brought the rest of Uganda down. Our children, the torture and other things that are happening in this country, part of the blood we put on your heads. You, the Lango people who accept the deception of money. I'm going to say that here is very bitter, it's a fact. You will blame me when you go out, talk against me, you can go. Why did you leave us? Why do you deny us? Daniel Omara here, commissioner, I think most of them, they qualify everywhere in Uganda. I think their level has gone beyond the stipulated structures of government. The level is beyond that. How can you make such a mistake? Recently, I was asking somebody here. Then they told me they made the Commissioner Daniel Omara chairman land board. The chairman land board. That is a shame. How can you reduce Angel Gabriel to be a lay reader in the hierarchy of God? That level, how can you do that? These people, even if they went to parliament and just coughed, when the bill is on floor of parliament, just coughing, it corrects all the errors that are there. Unlike some of the people you are sending because of money. And the rest of Uganda was benefiting from their cough. Look at how the country is dark and quiet. You deprived Uganda torches that were brighter. That is why I must applaud Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu for putting this documentation down. This documentation will serve Ugandan generations for years. By the way, as you walk away, our gallant son, Omara Atubu, you have liberated northern Uganda. With this. Those who have been telling lies about the North have nowhere to run with the coming of this book now. They have nowhere to run. They have been blaming us, the war claimants, this, whatever the case, arresting us, threatening us. These people who made the law in this year.
Honorable Julius, can we wrap it up?
Yeah. Chapter 4 of our Constitution is very clear. Article 50, Clause 1. Name it. About rights and freedoms. And that is what simply we decided to follow. As obedient law followers, that let's go to courts of law and do the needful. We have done it. Now they are playing like this. I invite all of you, let's follow what they have done for us. We have been lacking this document, it has come. Omara Atubu has built as a pillar for us to continue with the struggle. And let's continue with the struggle. I want to thank the rest of other speakers. My namesake, Julius Odwe, when he was the inspector, assistant inspector general, the Karamojong atrocities were too much in Teso and Karamoja. Odwe was there with us, bringing the astutes and all that. I found him today here speaking very well. Let God continue to protect you. That is what it means, that we must preserve our sons and daughters of that caliber. It helps to shape. Ask yourself, from the time Omara Atubu was arrested in the barracks, and tortured. Imagine from that time up to now, who else wrote a book? Who else? Did you at one time ask yourself why? He never stopped after that torture. He continued going to government and speaking for the voiceless. And today, he has spoken for millions who are affected. Whether Kasese, whether where, only remove the name. It can be the Kenya, it can be the Turkan, it can be the Maasai, it can be the coast, it can be everywhere. Because issues of land are cited here. And land grabbing today, everywhere in Uganda. You heard some people say, if you want to chase us back to Rwanda, first take our land. We are going with our land. Did you hear about that? Some people today are pushing themselves every corner in the country. Who are these people? Where were they before? This book is telling us about that story. After cows, they went to land. And they are continuing to come in big numbers on our land. You ask yourself, where were they before that? This book talked how prosperous Uganda was when our son, the late Dr. was in charge. Where were these people?
Honorable Julius Ochen, you are subjecting me to torture because stopping somebody who is speaking sense and the people are still happily listening.
I want to say thank you very much for coming to grace this occasion. May God continue, bless you, and give you more wisdom to champion the nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Julius Uche. For me, I'm just winding up saying thank you. I want to call upon our father, Little Mara, to say we are calling you on board, even Honorable Omara Atubu, Julius Peter Odwe, and all the elders. This is the time that we need your support. We need your advice. We need your skill to help us now we continue to push. As I wind up, because of the time, may I recognize the presence of the Honorable Sarah Mary. I always like her for speaking the truth, and she always raise up whenever that things is not going well. She always wanted to uplift everything. And then also Reverend okay, that are here, is always also ready to commit for the community to help that the community push. And everyone that is down there, I must thank you so much. Thank you for inviting us in this program. We are ready to continue to cooperate and see that our community get whatever that they deserve and belong for them. May God bless you all.
Amen. Thank you, Moses. I don't know where to start from, but all the same, allow me use the simple request that may we all clap for Honorable Julius Uchen and Wangadonyo for all their submissions. All of you came here as innocent people coming to attend a book launch, but now after a speech from Julius Uchen here, I think all of us are going back as accused persons, and of course we are also accepting our guilt. We are guilty accused. So I'm accused 1, accused 2, up to accused 100. Why? Because we have been accused of training very good drivers when they're not experienced enough. We buy new trucks, then we give learner drivers to say, okay, you use this vehicle and very goods for us. So when we are crying that the car has, or the vehicle has crashed, we have ourselves to blame, according to Honorable Julius Uchen. By the way, let's thank God for him. Honorable Julius Uchen here, the way he's becoming a young boy again, I don't know why. I'm not disrespecting you. The way you're not growing old. He is regressing. In fact, when he sat here, not many of us could recognize that he is the Lango Uchen Julius. In fact, we used to call him Uchenda Muria. He has been a chairman LC5, he has been a member of parliament, he has been a very notorious UPC. So we knew him very well. And you're always welcome to Lao, Honorable Julius Uchen. And notorious in good ways, not so. Now, we are going to listen to some 2-3 people before we can call it quit. We are going to use 15 minutes, and we are going to allot each of you 2 to 3, 4 minutes there. And beginning with Dr. Alex Okot, who has other engagements elsewhere, so that we also give him the time to move on. So, Honorable Dr. Alex Okot, please, the floor is yours. Honorable Alex Okot used to be a member of parliament for Moroto County. He was in the same parliament with the Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu for Zakule Park, Ben Wacha, and along the way, Honorable Ngiro Butumoy, Abacha Shonda late. You may use this.
Thank you so much for this book, Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu. I want to say something small. You might have forgotten. One day, you called me and you said you were going to Aleptom, to Aloy Town Council, to visit some friends. And you wanted me to go along. When we reached there, you changed the statement. You said, I've brought for you your future MP. And you asked me to talk when you had not informed me that I was going to be a candidate for MP. I had to struggle, but it has shaped me to be the politician I became. I thank you for that. And I remember in those days when the two of us had traversed the country talking about land, and you made sure I went with you and we moved and talked about land. Later on, you became the Minister of Land, and you brought us a very good law about customary land, and it is entrenched in our laws. Now, this book, I don't want to talk about what people have said. I want to talk about the consequences of the loss of our cattle. When you want to destroy somebody, cause what we call disruption in his life. Let him lose sense of direction and lose his way of life. You have finished the person. So Lao's life was disrupted because our cows was not only a source of wealth, it was status, it was culture, it was dignity. So when it is uprooted, those three elements are uprooted. Your culture, your dignity, and your authority. So what do you remain with? You become disoriented. I am happy he has mentioned that we threw away our leaders. Yeah? We threw away the good drivers and brought the learner drivers because we became disoriented. We didn't know what we want. We didn't know where we belong. Because we lost everything. We lost our status. We lost our dignity. We lost our way of life. And when you are disoriented, you lose everything. When we had our cows, we could easily say, "Ole anpache uturi." No? Ginarik lao ya bero ni, pe ache muturi. Full stop. Hello here. But now what is it? Your ducha me to worry state house. Memo you chem. Your tia worry state house. Memo you chem. So where is the Lao dignity? Our source of unity was not the Laoness. It was the family unit. It was the family unit. And that's why cattle was very important. Pinyom, Pimakuwat. Because the cows brought the source of the strength of the Lao, which was the family. Aman jo nyomi ngo. Jo nyomi WhatsApp. Jo nyomi WhatsApp. Lao dokti inyo. It is friends and groups. And therefore, we have also lost the family. When I was a young boy, in the morning you go to dig. Then later on, you take the animals for grazing. You're with training. Was not something of being annoyed. It was a military training. Where are the Langi now? Do we still have that land? So that is what the disruption brought. Men were supposed to defend. The work of men was not to feed the family, was to defend the home. Then secondly, feed the family. Don't know here. So Tishango don't know here feeding the family. The major job was to defend. And no more the British failed to enter Lao. Because Lao was taught to defend the family. And now, I don't know what we defend. So, all that it brought was disorient the Lao. That's what the book is talking about. Lao is completely disoriented. Lao is completely lost. We have lost direction. We don't know even who we are. And that's why we do this kind of elections. I don't know who can sincerely say, I did the right voting in the last election. I didn't vote. I stood for somebody, but I didn't vote. Because I had nothing to vote. Nothing. Forget about nobody. Forget about nobody. I had nothing to vote for. Because I knew it was lost. And for that reason, they can now play with us, the northerners. Because we have lost everything through disruption, and what we have is disorientation. So now they said, come on, I will help you. I will do this for you. Be calm. Enter the bus. All this nonsense that we hear, which is just to make sure we look very stupid. Very stupid. Somebody who used to say, Pachemuturi, now they are company, inoro. It's because they have destroyed you. And that's why they can say that. And I can even understand our cultural leaders. I am in a group of the PhDs. They are talking about economic development. You know, economic development must exist on a structure. And the structure can only be cultural. And our culture must entertain that we have our dignity, we have our culture, we have our status. Once you don't have that, any development is a superstructure. It's meaningless. It has no base. It can only be based when you exist. We don't exist. We exist in the air somewhere. We belong to somebody. And until we get away and become Lao, forget about development. Even these cows, when they give you 4 cows, so what? So what? Cows without a dignity, cows without a family, cows without a culture. So we need to reorganize ourselves and claim our position that existed as Lao by claiming first our culture, claiming our dignity, and therefore what Honorable Daniel Omara said, reparations, more than restocking. Reparations is what we need. And it is reparation which shall bring our dignity, our status, and our culture. Then development will come. How much money has been brought in the north? Where is the development? If it was money, if it was restocking, we have no dignity. Thank you.
Now, yeah, long Reverend. Yina jala to buy a lot of the working organ. Tamane, O Miria, will church on PN. Kalana one put potini that or 2 pochunga, unique katia time for you one Karachawa. At you do Ura Jomagamo, Tialung Mara to Buniatin Nani, Atinian, Anapu. You look for Danoni Atini, Bangoki taking chatty, you get a child. So, no pedo tia you.
My name, I'm called Reverend George Okeng. I am 64 years old now as I talk. I have retired from very many things. I retired from priesthood. I retired from the Church of Uganda. I have retired from education department. I'm an educationist. I have retired from that. I've also retired from cultural leader, because I started the work of culture from my clan as the head of clan, Kola Witong. I served with Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu. That's where he got to know me very well. And we have shared quite a number of things together with him. Up to today, that's the reason why when he met me, he invited me to come for this function. I worked as a Witong, I worked as the PPS for our Wanyashi, the late Yosa Muduri B. I was his private secretary. I also served as the speaker of Lango Cultural Institution for many years, about 10 years. Then I graduated to the national level, where I served as the cultural liaison officer, working with the Uganda National Cultural Center under the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. I retired from there last year in October. I'm now at my home in Boroboro here, seated, only waiting to be consulted. I'm now not good in active service, but I can give advisory services. And when I saw this part, they said they wanted at least the leaders, who is a cultural leader, political leader, religious leader. And I found that I think I fall here. This is where you can find me. I would like to take this opportunity to say two things. One, I would like to thank Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu, and I want to thank all the elders who managed to attend this function. Please, thank you very much for coming to launch or to witness the launch of this book. In this, I learned two things. One, I learned one thing which I heard from somebody here who said, ni ilao dano kadong yoshamu ginarai koni ando aromoto. So here I have learned ni Daniel Omara Atubu do romoto. Enumi enokato kerikori buki. Pienjo amegin tamani put gin peru romoto. Gin pekobo kobateni. Obero kara jo amedong gin kobni romoto. Amekobo ko ni ko dia kalaburu. Eno jo ame peru romoto peye. Honorable Dan, I want to thank you very much for the courage you have taken to write this book. It is not easy, you people. Very many people know even better than Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu, but they are unable to come out and tell the world the truth, just because Ginpot Peru Ramto. Another lesson I've learned from here is that in this house, in this hall, I am seeing the majority of the people here are people Amedo Ramoto. People who are 60 and above. And this one is bringing me to the sense that I think it is only the elders who can speak the truth. But these other young ones, they don't want the truth. They even don't know it. Now, if it is true that somebody who is elderly can now speak the truth like Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu has done, then it means even me, at my age, I am already an elder in the community where I am. Therefore, I must speak the truth as an elder. Do you know how misleading it is if somebody stands up and make a blunder and yet he is elderly? Then people will go with whatever he has said, that it is the truth, when actually he is misleading the community. My appeal to my Lango people who are elderly from 60 and above, please let us stick to the truth. Let us guide the nation. That is the only thing I can say here. Then, as far as the book is concerned, please, even in our culture, the Lango culture, very many things which are very important, they are not coded down. And it becomes very difficult to share it with the people of other cultures. A thing like this, writing down a book, is something very important. I think even as the cultural institution, we must make sure that we put down certain things for future references for our young generation. The Bible was also written the way Honorable Dan has written this book. But because of the writing of the Bible, today everybody is able to read what happened in Jerusalem, in where. They are able to read and follow and understand it just because they were written down. Please, it is my humble appeal that let us learn to put down things in black and white so that we can leave behind for the young generations. Because of this, I say, may God bless each and every one of us. Thank you very much.
Once again, let's clap for Reverend George King. Now, Honorable DK Odo, I'm sorry, I will not allow you to rest because we need to leave this place. I know you had many other commitments elsewhere, but you were meant to say a word here. Now I'm giving you 3 minutes. After that, I will ask a lady, because this the whole thing has been male-dominated. You were about to complain. Me, I know you. I know. So but then when he was saying, Dok Alango again, and what I was saying, me not yet there. Not yet. So, Mera Zora is, yes, he's there. Okay, no problem. So this thing is a must. It is like when we say shall in law means a must. So now let me begin with Angwara. I'm giving you 3 minutes. Then Imara Zore, 3 minutes. DK, 3 minutes. Then we call it quit. Fine, let's carry on.
Thank you so much, my dear MC Rolex Takenakwa. He has been my OB as well, but he's trying to block me and, keep me under the table. But for me, I'm always up. I want to thank my elders with all due respect. It is the first time that I'm attending this kind of, event, and I must say I'm humbled. Some of us have been trying to, forge ways forward, and we lack sense of direction. At least a purpose today given us a little bit of sense of direction, which we must appreciate him for this. Apap, with all due respect, we want to appreciate you. My name is Sarah Aworangweri. I represent the workers, Lira City Council. My village is in Bar. I am a born of Lira district. And I must tell this congregation that Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu married from Bar as well. But those days, because they had many cows, I think he married from different parts of the country, which we also want to appreciate him for that. Marriage is a source of hospitality, and when we go to Karamoja, I think Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu will be welcomed first than any of us. So I want to thank you, Apap, for this. I must confess that when the cattle rustling happened, I was a very young girl. I think I was about I don't remember, but I was very young. They used to carry me when they are going to the bush. Apap, I must confess that I am also one of the victims of what happened in 1986. By the grace of God, I wouldn't have gone to school, but it's my uncle who paid my school fees, because also my late grandfather paid him school fees. So that is how I managed to go to school. Otherwise, I would have remained a pure village girl. But I want to thank God that I'm here speaking today and also giving a testimony to this. Those ones who went to court, I really have questions for them because even me, I lost my father. He did not die instantly, but he was shot on the leg, both legs, the late Benjamin Angwere. People think I'm the daughter to Justice Ruby, but I don't want to. My father comes from Bar, and he's called Benjamin Angwere, and he was shot in 1986 in both legs. So we had to grapple with taking care of him all this time, you know, treatment, and none of us went to school. I was the only girl who studied from our home. My own brothers, that's why some people think, where did this lady come from? But because of the hunger that I have in me, that's what keeps me moving. And because of the problem that I went through as a young girl, and I went through all this as a young girl, it has taught me to fight for space. And we must fight for space as Lango. Because if you think we are going to lie down forever, then we shall remain there forever. So as a woman raised in Lango, born in Lango, raised in Lango, I studied in Lango. I studied in St. Catherine, by the way. So I am a native of this place, and I know everything that happened in Lango since I was born. So I did not move anywhere. So I also live as a truth teller and a living testimony of what happened in Lango. In 1986, there was cattle wrestling. I don't know when, I don't remember when Kony came in, the Ototong, and even the Lakwenas. We had series of all this. Were we meant to be in this kind of situation in Uganda? This is very unfortunate for us, but some of us are living here by the grace of God. Otherwise, some of us would have died a long time ago. Even Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu, the writer of this book, lived by grace of God. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here by now. I remember one day when I was arrested for telling the truth. It's true that the Reverend said, truthfulness has lost position in Uganda. You speak the truth, they will avoid you. Completely, they will not want to do anything with you. So when I was arrested for speaking the truth on the issues of corruption, he was the only person who called me and said, Sarah, you stand strong. I know this is political intimidation. But if I was like, you know, a coward, I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be a politician up to now. So I want to thank you for that word, those words of encouragement. We are here to keep the candle burning. As you see, these old people, they are about to, you know, we cannot bring them on board again to fight for us. We must stand tall and fight for this space. I want to promise it before you that as leaders, for me even, I don't care whether I'm a political leader or whether I'm a cultural leader, but what makes me strong is my tribe as Lango. I will stand by my two legs. And even if it means dying, we shall die. After all, nobody will live here like turtles who live for 100 or 200 years. We shall all die. But we must not infringe on my right as a citizen of Uganda. Finally, Akena is behind me, wants to kill me. We have realized we have realized the impact of the cattle rustling. Morally, culturally, politically, even religiously, a lot has gone astray. I don't know how many years we need to put these things right. And if you don't stand up now, then it means those conditions will remain there. In this council, I was the only lady who brought a proposal on how, an ordinance on how we can deal with the street kids. Those days, were there street kids when you people were growing? They were not. So where did these street kids come from? Can even street produce children? So culturally, our culture is completely eroded. People are marrying from the street, and they end up on the street, and we have street children. Because they don't know their culture. Our religion, honestly, we don't know what is happening in Uganda. I beg the religious leaders, as Apapo Dwyer has said, we need to pray. We need actually to fast for 40 days. Apap, I'm waiting when you will organize that 40 days, and we shall do the fasting. Me, I will fast. As a woman of Lango, I will do it. So, as my father was shot, his herds of cattle were taken. and practice life. So those ones who went for cattle compensation, why didn't you people also include the issue of life lost? Because me, I'm still grieving for my father. And that's the reason why I did not study very well. Okay, so why do people keep on talking about cattle? How about life? Did you document those ones who died? Aha, thank you. Then I will now be with you people in the war. Because I cannot talk about cattle when I lost my father. That will mean I am insane in the head. So for me, I will join the team. For me, I will fight the battle because of my father, and even the cattle we lost that time. So we shall join the war.
Okay.
I wanted to say something little on the mentorship. We want to apologize to Honorable Julius Ocheng that we actually made wrong decisions in Lango that derailed the whole of Uganda. On behalf of the women and men of Lango, I want to take this opportunity to apologize to the entire Uganda that we made wrong decision that tarnished the image of this country. Now we are known for corruption. We are known for, these petty things. Today, I have brought a new thought in my head again, that probably this government which is running, and I also claim to belong to that government, much as I am not corrupt and I don't like corruption, that maybe it was rooted in stealing, theft. Because it started in 1986 and it is now swallowing the entire Uganda. One time we may realize one day that Uganda has been mortgaged. With all the citizens in it, they will mortgage Uganda if we keep closing our mouth. So we don't want to be mortgaged. Our elders and the young generations who are there listening, we need to wake up, rise up, and fight for our right. Thank you. May God bless all of us.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Sarah.
This book I'm taking to my mother who is still living, and even my children will read this book.
Why my text? Mr. Chairman, put tune. Chairman, put tune da ankom atie en chung kana chichega chega pa mar chakana raulung inena ne. Put tune da. Amani chairman ko de bin kan atpa me rujo. But away from that, Sarah Uwaramwere reminded us about the trends of unfortunate scenarios that have been happening in this Lao nation. And now when you reflect on J.P. Udwe's analogy of our origin, one might think that maybe our fate has been determined by our origin. Because like the Israelites live, Israel has been living through some of these things. Coming to Egypt, being taken back 40 years. But they are in wars after every 4, 5, 6 years. And that is how they live. Maybe that same fate is following us. Julius, maybe you need to research about it. Chairman Lango, I don't want you to go home very bitter. I am giving you 2 minutes. Aya is still strong. This is my friend, I know. We are ever together. I know Zil and Charisma. So, Muze, Chawa Kadunga Yada Petia Bear. One no time in Arachella Lokaka group, Lokaka group, and then Pekulu Mea Molata Polo, Erokitame Yindono, the dark girl on it. One put a chair, yes, Pemir Gatoya, but why quite copy you know that chair.
Paul Yesu, Copatia check to twal, the Cope Dok Alango Melawo. Tio Pisara Dishi, cow, Tiapongo Joko, Picope Ratawatio Mito, Picope Woodicot, Malo, Piencote Uganda, Tiado Anwara, the one with the Coponimono, come, Morametia Maconga Toro, or Moby Bush. Bin Mahan Nikukoma, Wahana Woody Coma. Another Chela Manuel Pilo, Dok Yakoma, Kunamiduneka, Kunjo Gavete and Omado. Tobero Lock, Tobero Coromodo, Tobero Tesho. Government Uganda and Omado, Eko temi tu nyuaro waye, pitien ko bango. Kama tu ko bika moro tut, pe nu ma ho ngatoro, ni pi ko pera shilling tu mia papa, wanu wo record lo ba ho. Gino kama tu ko bena poyo.
Mai matek. Amana tawo dum yin pe Dok a yi tie chwe, pien ko pano wango yi chai ko ko. Ba chi o kwai o no. Why?
Tell me to look at a level down. Get to Pangoka level down and bear attack down. Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu, get a well education may take on. Then per time when you have been rattled, a John Morgan Marata Gigan. Enter book come in each other, Ulu Yor, the long and a hand down. George Pobergin a yacht, and I had a Jackberry George. Petum dan. Eto me choyo chahare pe chel na hi kana me bukiti agiye nui di uchunyi. Iko di mwa hame yinde ti ye no. Upue me di wan rata tinkan. Upue me di uchunyi beru yaro ko ame jo luoro yaro kana le. Apo yi cha moro ni na rata kedi ako ni ka gupu potie. It worked book da quite level down. PN National Council for LCDC no. Tia ye you book me level down me puonjo o level down chukulewa. National Curriculum Development Center. No, never could make look level down Dok Mono do la. Donc Ginukera me ujo loho chono kobo. Uguri jama pola pola. Nyurukara ni wan ka binukara chel, ka mede binukara chel. Joy teso, joy choli kere lao. Uramo tunu kana rek miro wano tunu ni e chon. Pien jama mobile timere I karo ngej. Umiyo jo kekera, miyo jo popoha. Mio jobero kera kemo. Eto tina tene ni yoti wana chahu wunu wota yen. Amera mami wa biru jwa tek. Lebla ko wini nota enteho. Eto kado peti nota wunu ngati mere. Jo kero ko en ngo mo binu ti mere mwaki do ngame porlo karo ngej. Wandushi yoti kita me honorable wara ngwer ko kere. Ginobe kom wadushu. Eto dong chawa pe me cheko. O no akoboni. Jo adoti yote tinda hobero irionge rachelo kodong. Kanen jo ramo cho nying jo tedo bero rwate unu. Tebero lo unu. Me buongora ti chuny wacha. Akemo mora me puro dong cha. Ame miyo kai rwate kere dara me acholi pe ramo lo kere. Per il loho gireto nuo pe ya I chunyicha. I tesho. Kere don ka yo lockdown. Chwana kwana yo loho ngi wana halebgi. Eto ka winyi ni ubinu maudo ya wanga peto ere. Kuri gina mitu lock. Kuri lock here me rambe wuni wiyo time. Kari kono wiyo time la mandon petie. Eto yen no go gire potie ram moko. Me we o mwa wana we kotino. Be dong gino beru kujai peda kemo pedong chulu kuo aneno mina better. I hope you're picking what I'm saying. He spoke very fluently but with a lot of force and anger. There was at a certain point I was almost getting annoyed. Why is he blaming us? The people who did that are not even here. But history is written and other people read it. Thank you for coming. I'm going to do it at the end. Yes. So, I said I'm very happy to be here today. Honorable Omara Atubu is my APAP. One incident or two incidences that I remember him for. The time that he was arrested,
coincided with the time NTC students were abducted. And when they came back, they were housed at St. Augustine. He came to visit us and visit the abductees. That was the time he was taken. I don't know whether I cried because the other students were also under those of us who were not taken. Then the second incident was the abductions of the Aboke girls, 1986. Every other day he went with us to check whether the girls are back. Apap, we want to thank you for that courage. I think I can now call that courage because that was a time nobody wanted to associate themselves with Aboke, with St. Mary's College Aboke. And before I get back to my seat, it would be bad I'm speaking here and my chairperson is here and our general secretary. Maybe I'll ask them to upstand and yes. I was the chairperson and I left it in the hands of my senior, next Susan, who received me when I went to senior 1 and she was in senior 4, and our secretary, Esther Amadi. So, members in this August House, this is not an accident. This call is not an accident. I think all of us who are here were meant to be here today. So as we walk out, let us continue meditating on what this sitting has brought us to. One book, one man wrote, and with, of course, people who helped him do the research, has brought us all here. Let it not just be today that we're leaving this house. Let us continue this kind of sitting so that we get to the roots of what is disturbing us in our region. Particularly one day, I think I shared with Honorable Angweri, she has gone out, about the street children. I don't like the name they use to refer to them because they are not street mothers and fathers. Every child deserves to grow up in a home. As we have here Honorable Omara Liro, one time I met you, long time, I was traveling somewhere and I needed your assistance. Talking of human rights, those children don't deserve to be where they are. Somehow, I always ask myself, are they appearing on the budget? There's the budget for youth, women, and every other thing, but what about the children on the streets? They are not all that many. We can gather them. Like when people ran away during the insurgency and stayed in town here, people looked at situations or conditions of the children and came out with a resolution of putting up learning centers. Otherwise, where would our children be? So why can't we do something for the street children? Because taking them back home, people have tried, doesn't work. Let's take them back home when they are already transformed. I would like to end here and I want to say thank you very much, Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu, for gathering us together here.
And thank you for coming along.
Actually, I even forgot my name. I'm Mimad Mary Azore, a retired lecturer from Uganda Technical College, Lira. I'm in the 3rd year of my retirement, but still working.
This retiree of mine. Thank you. Let's clap for her and for bringing those two noble ladies. They are very instrumental in our society. Susan there, I don't know if she considers herself naturally or now she's lost. Susan does not know where she belongs, I think, because all along she has been here. And anyway, that is her. One time she was chairperson, Uganda Netball, I think, Netball Association. She was in charge netball in this country, and they all did very wonderful things. Apart from, as we wait for Honorable DK, apart from us trying to unite, I think we should also try to be good parents in our home, in our homes, because if you are a good parent, there is no way all your children will become bad. I think I had an opportunity to interact with the parents of one of our little Mara here. There is no way you could be such a parent and your children don't come out to succeed in life. Never. Even when they were very old, they would be referring to this very giant man as a little. So DK come, I was waiting for DK, but I really wanted us to be good parents. Because without good parents in homes, we cannot have good society. Honorable Chairman, I think now you are well versed with this situation. You can now speak to us. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Allow me to salute everybody who has sacrificed their time to come and attend. This is a special moment. And on that note, I want to thank Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu for thinking deeply and writing a book. I want to thank you so much. One time somebody said that the problem that we have in our society, it is mainly the weakness of those elites who understand things and they keep quiet. Honorable Daniel, you have stood out to be counted. Let us clap our hands for him. Recognize Honorable Joel Aliro Mara, one of the prominent personalities in Lango. I want to thank you so much. And not forgetting my colleague, he was a former district chairperson. He was in parliament. He has been in parliament and he has been in the forefront. He's so passionate about Lango. I am seeing dignitaries, but in the interest of time, allow me to proceed and make my remarks. I am the outgoing district chairperson of Alepton and also the chairperson of all the LC5 chairperson in Lango sub-region. I want to thank you for also recognizing me to come and make a remark in this moment. Now, the title of the book is very clear. Lango Cattle, which has now resulted into CAS. In our tradition as Lango, cattle were not only animals, but cattle were our source of wealth. Cattle was meant for us to settle disputes. Cattle was meant for us to make good relationship as through marriage and the rest of it. Cattle was the bank for the people of Lango. All those has been alluded to in the book. So that means when somebody has sacrificed to write about this and point it out, as the people of Lango, we should not take it lightly. And on that note, as political leaders, as we are making statements here, we want the sitting government to take this book in good faith. Because this book, it is the idea that was brought in by Honorable Daniel Omara Atubu, but it is the heart of the people of Lango. Once your source of income, source of wealth, source of economy is distorted, you are no more. And this one explains as to why when the cattle were raided up to date, I am telling you, Lango is just meandering here and there. There is no clear direction whatsoever as far as the economic recovery is concerned. Unless something is done to that effect, we are still going to meander around. And on that note, we are also demanding that the government needs to take this one very seriously. We don't want songs, we don't want stories. Let people be compensated with their animal. And in this case, there is nothing like NRM, there is nothing like UPC, because when it comes to wealth, when it comes to poverty, when it comes to suffering, all the party members are in it together. So I don't want somebody to jump out, I am NRM. No, it is about the wealth of the people of Lango. So on that note, as this book is now launched today, to me it is a wake-up call to the policy makers to design policies that will take back our wealth. I am also a victim of that. I remember in 1987, when there was an early morning hours, when 151 cattle belonging to my grandfather was taken when I was in primary 5, and I was in the bush. My father nearly missed death. And from that time, our education was distorted. Can you imagine? The cattle raid delayed my studies for 4 years, and I was in P5 for 4 years. You go and start the study in the January, the raid come, the whole year wasted. 4 years in primary 5. Not only that one, the raid led to the death of my grandfather, who abruptly got high blood pressure and died because cattle was part of him. When he sees the cattle, he sees us the children, and he was very happy because he knew our future was safe. But when the cattle were raided, the man would cry, say, now, how are my children going to survive? Because